Chapter 6079. Although the enemy was the four great emperors, Lin Xian and the others were not afraid at all. They were really ignorant ants. The four great emperors snorted coldly.
Attack.
Immortal chi erupted from their bodies, forming a light screen that shrouded the sky and earth. This attack was extremely terrifying. The entire ground instantly cracked, and countless mountains and rivers were shattered. Lin Xian snorted coldly. He flicked his finger, and a sword chi flew out. The sword chi was extremely terrifying, as if it was going to tear the universe apart. This sword slashed directly at the two great emperors. He wanted to fight against the two of them alone. The two great emperors were furious. "You're courting death." Extremely terrifying killing intent erupted from their eyes. Was the other party looking down on them? Unforgivable. They let out an earth-shattering roar. The two of them decided to kill him in one blow. Immortal technique, sky hunting. Immortal technique, wind city. The two attacks were extremely terrifying. Great emperors of the same realm could not withstand them at all. After seeing them, they had to retreat to save their lives. However, Lin Xian did not escape at all. He waved his hand, and the immortal slaying sword appeared in his hand. The long sword hummed, and the man and the sword charged forward. A blinding ray of light, extremely dazzling, flew forward like a divine dragon swinging its tail. Then, it collided with the two immortal techniques. It was an earth-shattering attack. The two immortal techniques were torn apart by the sword. The two great emperors also retreated. The two of them were dumbfounded. They did not expect that they would be injured as soon as they exchanged blows with the other party. The other party was only a quasi-emperor. Why? The two of them could not believe it. There was something wrong with his sword. Yes, that's right. Use our extreme weapons. The two great emperors took out their weapons and charged over again. There was something wrong with the sword? Stupid. Lin Xian sneered and let the long sword float in the sky. Then, he stretched out his hands. On his left hand, the immortal chi seed spread out. On his right hand, the power of the divine fire seed jumped. Immortal technique, graceful sword. Divine ability, apocalyptic punch. Lin Xian drew the sword with his left hand and punched with his right hand. Two earth-shattering forces erupted. The two emperors went crazy when they saw this scene. How is this possible? You have both the seed of immortal energy and the seed of divine fire. How could you possibly cultivate two types of power? This had completely surpassed their understanding of the world. With a boom, the two of them were sent flying. The body of the person on the left was split in half. The great emperor on the right was smashed into pieces. Shock, incomparable shock. Was the other party's immortal seed even more powerful than their immortal seed? Damn it. The two of them were furious, igniting their immortal energy. The immortal chi on their bodies burst out like a brilliant flame. The two martial monarchs attacked once again. Lin Xian waved his hand and grasped the immortal extermination sword. It's over. A single sword strike shocked the heavens. Like a blazing sun, it cracked open between heaven and earth. After one sword strike, two great emperors had fallen. How could this be? The other two great emperors were fighting Xiaojuyo and Xueqi. They hadn't expected that their companions would perish. Damn it. How did this kid do it? Even if he couldn't win against great emperors of the same level, he could still run away. How could they know? The immortal extermination sword had killed immortals before, and this sword strike was Lin Xian's all-out attack. The great dragon sword soul's indestructible power directly extinguished the vitality of the great emperors. After one sword strike, Lin Xian's face turned pale. The great dragon sword soul needed some time to recover and replenish its power. However, Lin Xian didn't plan to let the other two go. He said, "Cheer." After hearing this, Xueqi nodded. She soared into the sky and came to Lin Xian's side. 9 yin and 9 yang fused together. Boom. They attacked the third great emperor. The third great emperor roared, "Kill." He had a long spear in his hand, and at this moment, he stabbed it into the sky. This spear strike was so powerful that it caused the void to shatter continuously, causing countless cracks to appear in the void. The cultivators in the distance were also terrified. The attack of a great emperor was so terrifying. However, under the fusion of the 9 yin and 9 yang, the opponent turned into ashes. He died again. The fourth great emperor was stunned. The first three great emperors died in an instant. This strength is too terrifying, isn't it? Is he an earth immortal? Damn it! How can he be so strong? As for the 9 underworlds, 3 thunderous roars rang out from it. A terrifying crack appeared in the sky, as if the sky was torn open. A rain of blood poured down. At this moment, the cultivators in the 9th underworld looked up in horror. Heavens, what happened? Who was the culprit behind the fall of the great emperor? In a certain valley, Xiaqinyu and Zhulong's scalp went numb when they saw this scene. Could it be that the earth immortal from the Fortune Celestial Pool did it? Otherwise, why would so many great emperors die? There was a loud boom. At this moment, another thunderous sound came, and the 4th rain of blood fell. Another great emperor died. Countless living beings, cultivators, and warriors in the 9th underworld all prostrated themselves on the ground. Millions of families and sects knelt down. Even the great emperors in those families were trembling in fear. After becoming a great emperor, their lifespan would be very long. Although it was not absolute immortality, in the eyes of ordinary people, they had infinite life. It could be said that it was immortality in the eyes of ordinary people. But now, a great emperor had died, and it was the death of 4 great emperors. This was really too much of a challenge to their nerves. In a certain mountain gate, an old man sighed. There was also a trace of immortal qi on his body. He was also a great emperor. However, at this moment, his expression was incomparably lonely. He said, "It's easy to live forever, but difficult to not die." Behind him, a little boy carrying a lantern walked over and said, "Master, it's time for you to take your medicine." The old man coughed twice and then sighed. "Disciple, do you see? Even great emperors don't have true immortality. There are still people who can kill them." The little boy looked up and asked, "Shifu, then how can I live forever?" The old man also stood up and sighed to the sky. "Who in the world can live forever? Difficult, difficult, difficult." The old man's expression was incomparably lonely. Finally, he sighed, "Disciple, tomorrow morning, you go down the mountain and don't come back for 800 years. "Master," the little boy cried. He knelt on the ground and kowtowed nonstop. Was he not good enough? The old man looked at this scene with heartache, but he still didn't say anything. He had to let this little disciple leave, because he felt that a crisis was coming and a storm was coming. This storm was going to sweep across the 9 Serenities continent. They, the great emperors of the 9 Serenities continent, might not be able to escape. Would they live or die by then? Who knew? If his disciple stayed by his side, he would most likely die. Rather than that, it was better to be cruel and let him leave. Although there were also all kinds of dangers outside, it was much safer than facing that supreme existence. In fact, it wasn't just this old man who had this idea. The other great emperors above the 9 Serenities' great emperor seemed to have the same idea. Among them, in the 9 Serenities land, there was a huge canyon that was bottomless. There was a black palace here, and in the palace, there was a middle-aged man in black armor. He also had immortal qi floating on his body. He was also a great emperor. In front of him, there was a black mirror. At this moment, the black-armored great emperor formed a seal with both hands, as if he was deducing something. In the next moment, a crack appeared on the mirror. The great emperor spat out a mouthful of blood, and his body was on the verge of collapse. "Father." 2 figures behind him supported him. They were a man and a woman. They were the prince and princess. No matter where and when they were, they would enjoy endless glory. However, at this moment, the black-armored great emperor said, "I deduced that a crisis is coming, and I don't have the ability to protect you." How could it be? The prince and princess were stunned. Their father was a great emperor, a high and mighty great emperor that countless people looked up to. How could such a person feel defeated and powerless? They wouldn't believe it even if they were beaten to death. However, the great emperor shook his head. He looked at his 2 children and said, "I've prepared 2 godly sources for you. It's enough for you to sleep for 10,000 years. Wake up 10,000 years later. Perhaps you can avoid this storm." Chapter 6080. In front of Lin Xian and the others, the four great emperors had already fallen. They all breathed a sigh of relief. Let's continue on the road and find a place to rest and recover from our injuries. They continued on their journey. 3 days later, they stopped again because they met another team. This time, it was the Xia family. The leader was the Xia family's first elder. The first elder's eyes turned red when he saw Lin Xian. Kid, I finally found you. Come back with me obediently and wait for the demonic immortal's judgment. Otherwise, you will die without a burial place. You? Lin Xian sneered. You are not qualified to make me do it. He stood in the void with his hands behind his back and had no intention to make a move. Xia Zhuyo walked out and said, Let me fight this battle. You? The first elder of the Xia family looked at Xia Zhuyo and frowned. A black-robed man is playing tricks. He waved his hand and grabbed at the front. Behind him, the people who followed him sneered. They knew the first elder's strength very well. How could a black-robed man compare to him? Xia Zhuyo roared and punched out. The two collided and shook the sky and the earth. The expressions of the people at the back changed greatly after they saw it. Their eyes were filled with shock. Is this possible? The first elder's strength was amazing, but he was blocked by the opponent. How terrifying is this person? An expert of the Xia family said, Don't worry, first elder. It was just a casual attack. Next, the first elder will be serious. That guy will definitely die.
Yes.
The people around nodded. No one was optimistic about the black-robed man. After all, the first elder had been famous for a long time. Interesting. It seems that you are also a great emperor. But you are not my opponent at all. The first elder shouted coldly. He formed a seal with his hands, and his white hair fluttered. At this moment, he seemed to have turned into a god. He raised his hand, and a big seal flew out. The Jiuyo seal. The people behind him cheered when they saw the Xia family's unique skill. They knew that this battle was over. No one could resist the Jiuyo seal. Seeing this, Xia Zhuyo snorted coldly. The Jiuyo seal is not as practical as you. He unleashed his 9 underworlds body and also formed hand seals with his palms. Then, he slapped out. A black handprint was formed in front of him, and an incomparably terrifying aura burst forth from it. Everywhere it passed, the heavens collapsed and the earth cracked. Even the stars in the 9 heavens shook. Then, the two of them collided, causing the heavens to collapse and the earth to split. With a boom, the Grand Elder was forced back, his blood and chi roiling. He was dumbfounded. The next moment, he roared, Impossible! How can you have the 9 nether seal? Who are you? You actually dared to steal my Xia family's secret technique. He had really gone crazy. The people behind him were also dumbfounded. No way. The Great Elder was actually forced to retreat. It was too unbelievable. Damn it, who exactly is this black-robed man? Why was it so strange? On the other side, Lin Xian's lips curled up as he watched this scene. Let's fight. The people of the Xia family would soon be shocked. Because Xia Jiuyo had already become a great emperor. Coupled with the 9 underworlds body, this kind of secret technique in the starry sky, his strength far surpassed everything. It was not something the Xia family could imagine. At least, Lin Xian could see that the Xia family's Grand Elder was no match for him. You're just also. In front of him, Xia Jiuyo said coldly, You're courting death. 9 underworld song. The Great Elder roared as he activated another of the Xia clan's ultimate techniques. A terrifying sound seemed to come from the 9 underworlds hell. It was wailing like ghosts and howling like wolves, making one's scalp tingle. The surrounding people trembled in fear. Even the soul of a great emperor would not be able to withstand such an attack. The black-robed man in front of them was doomed this time. But soon, they were dumbfounded. Because the black-robed man in front of them also roared, 9 underworld song. A vortex door seemed to have opened on his body. From inside, an even more terrifying sound came out. It was like the sigh of a ghost. The 9 underworld song fought against the 9 underworld song. The two collided, causing the heavens to collapse and the earth to split. The Grand Elder was forced to retreat again. He was going crazy. You know the 9 underworld song too? Who are you? You're from the Xia family. He seemed to have thought of something. because he found that not only did the other party know the Xia family's secret technique, but the power was also stronger than his. Impossible. Although the Grand Elder was not the strongest in the Xia family, he was still at the top. Apart from the patriarch Xia Qianyu, he could be ranked in the top 5 among these elders. There were not many who could defeat him. However, this black-robed man was stronger than him. Who was he? He really couldn't figure it out, because there was no such person in the family. Fine, I'll let you know who I am. Xia Jiuyo took a deep breath, and a cold light burst out from his eyes. Then, he activated the 9 underworld song to the extreme. The whole universe was trembling, and endless cracks spread. Everyone was terrified. They felt that the power of the entire 9 underworld song was boiling. It gathered toward the other party. What was going on? What kind of bloodline did this guy have? Everyone went crazy. As for the Grand Elder, he was even more dumbfounded. His body trembled. You are. He was so shocked that he couldn't speak. Was this that physique? Why did it appear here? Wasn't this physique said to be in the outside universe? You have the 9 underworlds physique? Finally, he roared. How did you enter the 9 underworlds song? Hearing this, the people behind him sucked in a breath of cold air. 9 nether physique. Legend had it that the Xia family had a very terrifying physique. It was a super strong physique in all the worlds. It was called the 9 underworlds physique. Every 9 underworlds physique was extremely terrifying. It was said that the Earth Immortal of the Xia family back then had the 9 underworlds physique. In addition, there had been a few 9 underworlds physiques in the Xia family. However, a few of them had fallen in the battle. Now, another one had appeared. And as soon as it appeared, it was a great emperor. It was too unbelievable. What was even more shocking was that this 9 underworlds physique was actually hostile to the Xia family. That's right. Xia Jiuyo tore open his black robe and said, I have the 9 underworlds physique. I didn't expect it to really be you. The Great Elder roared crazily. Everyone, attack together and catch him. This was really an unexpected surprise. Not only could they catch Lin Xian, but they could also catch the 9 underworlds physique. If they caught him, the Xia family would have new hope. After hearing this, the people behind them all attacked. In addition to Xia Jiuyo, there were 2 other great emperors who had been watching the battle. At this moment, they also rushed over recklessly. Cheer, let's go. Lin Xian and Xueqi joined forces, fusing the 9 yin and 9 yang. Since Xia Jiuyo had revealed the 9 underworlds physique, it meant that the battle was about to begin. They wouldn't let anyone escape, including the Great Elder of the Xia family. The great battle broke out in an instant. It was earth-shattering and extremely terrifying. Xia Jiuyo was still fighting one-on-one with the Great Elder. A black hole appeared between the 2 of them. The others couldn't get close at all. Lin Xian and Xueqi joined forces and punched out. Instantly, the enemies fell in droves. They were crazy. They were too powerful. Stop them. The 2 of them joined forces. The 2 great emperors rushed over crazily. Cold and sharp battle suits appeared on their bodies. The 2 battle suits were extremely powerful. They could actually block some of the power of the 9 yin and 9 yang. These 2 battle suits should be extreme-grade weapons. They had extremely strong defense. Lin Xian sneered. He waved his hand and took out a fragment. Chapter 6081. This fragment was only the size of a palm, but there were extremely terrifying patterns on it, as if it was a fragment of a weapon. Lin Xian's right eye, Rinnegan, opened, blooming with light, and a cold voice sounded. He summoned the reincarnation sword. That's right, this fragment was the fragment of the reincarnation sword. Previously, Lin Xian's Rinnegan could already summon the phantom of the Thunder Soul Sword. Coupled with the fragment of the reincarnation sword, the power was even more terrifying. Between heaven and earth, a sword shadow that reached the sky appeared. There was the power of the 6 paths of reincarnation floating above the sky. Everyone looked up in horror. They were dumbfounded. No, what kind of power was this? 6 paths of reincarnation. He actually had this kind of power. Damn it. Run. Countless exclamations sounded. Some people even roared. Could it be the legendary reincarnation sword? Damn it. One of the 5 swords in the world. Who was he? How did he get these things? Many people recognized the sword shadow and were scared out of their wits. Even the two martial monarchs turned around and fled in terror. Lin Xian waved his hand, and the phantom of the reincarnation sword fell. The fragment of the reincarnation sword merged with the phantom, and a sword reincarnated. The front was completely covered by the sword shadow, and the 6 worlds were connected. Countless miserable screams rang out. These people's souls were sucked in and completely disappeared. After a single sword strike, those people all dissipated. One great emperor fell, and the other great emperor's armor was broken, and he vomited blood. He fell to the ground. Although he didn't die, he was seriously injured. It was impossible for him to escape. Who are you? Who are you? This great emperor looked at Lin Xian and kept roaring. Lin Xian pulled out the immortal slaying sword and said coldly, I am Lin Wudi. As soon as his voice fell, the long sword stabbed out, and the great emperor fell. His pupils dilated. 2 great emperors fell, and the vision of heaven and earth appeared again. Blood rain fell, covering Jiuyo. On the other side, the great elder who was fighting with Xia Jiuyo felt his scalp tingle. This person actually had the Rinnegan. Not good, Run. He turned and fled. Cheer, help Elder Xia. Don't let the enemy leave. Understood. Xueqi nodded. She waved her hand, and the 9 nether sword appeared in her hand. She also unleashed her 9 body to its pinnacle. Lin Xian knew that Xia Jiuyo was powerful and could defeat the first elder. However, it would not be easy to kill the first elder. After all, killing a great emperor at the same level required an extremely powerful trump card. Xueqi still had the 9 nether sword in her hands, and if she cooperated with the 2 of them, she could kill the great elder. Sure enough, when the 9 nether sword appeared, head elder's soul scattered. In the end, he shouted in despair, You even have the 9 nether sword? These people are too terrifying. The great dragon sword, the samsara sword, and the 9 nether sword all had the terrifying starry sky body. With such a group of people gathered together, even if an expert with 2 strands of immortal chi were to appear, the other party would still have nothing to fear. A third rain of blood fell from the torn hole in the sky. Lin Xian and the others took a deep breath and said, We must open the 9 serenities as soon as possible. By now, they had already killed 7 great emperors. Above the 9 underworlds, strange phenomena could be seen everywhere. If they did not leave now, their own experts might not be able to take it anymore. They might chase after them crazily. They had to borrow the power of the outside world again. At the thought of this, Lin Xian and the others quickly left. Butian said, Let's go to the 9th summit. My grandfather set up the Heavenly Master Array there back then. It should still be usable. All right, let's go to the 9th summit. Lin Xian and the others changed their direction and headed to the 9th summit. In the 9 serenities, countless people knelt down again. Heavens, a few days ago, for great emperors had fallen, and strange phenomena could be seen everywhere. Before they could react, another 3 great emperors had fallen. In just a month, 7 great emperors had fallen. It was really unbelievable. One had to know that 7 great emperors might not have fallen in 100,000 years. But in a month, it had happened one after another. What was going on? Was a peerless killing god coming? Were they all dead? In the creation celestial pool, the demonic immortal frowned. He could feel that 7 of the demonic Tao runes he had left in the bodies of those great emperors had disappeared. What a bunch of trash. Come here. The demonic immortal formed a seal with his palm and stretched out his hand. A figure half knelt on the ground. He said, Greetings, demonic immortal. The demonic immortal's eyes shone with a cold light. He said, Make your move. You're a powerhouse with 2 strands of immortal chi. You won't die. You must bring that kid to me. Do you hear me? The figure stood up, turned around, and soared into the sky. There were 2 strands of immortal chi on him. If Lin Xian and the others were here, they would definitely recognize him. This person was Xia Kuangsha. He was also the powerhouse of the Xia family who had been beaten into the lake by them. When he entered the lake, he didn't die. He was just shrouded by the power of silence and fell to the bottom of the lake. Then, he was discovered by the demonic immortal. Then, the demonic immortal controlled him. This was an extremely powerful great emperor. After all, 2 strands of immortal chi far surpassed everything. It was far from what the Great Elder and the others could compare to. Xia Kuangsha left the creation celestial pool and set off quickly. He came to the place where the Great Elder and the others were killed. His expression was extremely cold. With a wave of his hand, he began to collect the auras of Lin Xian and the others. Then, he looked into the distance and sensed it. He tore open the void and continued to chase. After Lin Xian and the others returned to the 9th summit, they began to set up the array formation. Bu Tian entered the palace of the 9th summit and began to search. Soon, he activated the array formation. The entire 9th summit shook violently. A terrifying array formation appeared in the surroundings. Clouds and mist filled the air, forming a sea of clouds. Great, the array formation was activated. Bu Tian heaved a sigh of relief. The array formation was set up by his grandfather back then. His grandfather was a heavenly master. Although he became delirious later on, when he was awake back then, he had also set up a great array formation. The Sea of Clouds Array. Lin Xian and the others felt the power of the Sea of Clouds Array and heaved a sigh of relief. With this array formation, even if a super great emperor with 2 strands of immortal chi came, it would be able to resist for a while. There's no time to lose. Elder Xia, let's move. Xiaojio nodded and said, I need Xueqi's help. You have to send me back to the universe first. Why? Lin Xian said, can't you open it here? Xiaojio said, no. The moment I became a great emperor, I sensed that with my physique, I could open the 9 underworlds. However, it must be opened from the outside. Husband, don't worry. My 9 underworld sword can send Elder Xia out. Lin Xian nodded. It was really dangerous. If they didn't have the 9 underworld sword, they really wouldn't be able to open the 9 underworlds. All right, let's begin. Xueqi took out the 9 underworld sword. Her eyes became sharp as she unleashed her power to the extreme. She stabbed the sword into the void, and a spatial passageway immediately appeared. All right, Elder Xia, you can go. Xia Jiuyo nodded and dashed outside with a flash of his body. Grandpa, Xia Xingqian exclaimed. Lin Xian said, Xingqian, you stay here. I'll go out with Elder Xia. Cheer, I'll leave this place to you. Don't worry, husband. After saying that, Lin Xian's figure flashed and entered the spatial passageway. In the next moment, the sky and earth spun. Lin Xian discovered that he had arrived at the 17th level of hell. Chapter 6082. The 17th level of hell, where the Xia family's branch was located. On this day, a black vortex appeared in the sky again. 2 figures walked out of the vortex. Seeing this scene, the Xia family's branch was shocked. The other 2 were also dumbfounded. These 2 came out of the Jirio land. Last time, when they escaped, they had experienced such a whirlpool. Now that such a vortex had appeared again, how could they not be excited? Great, it appeared again. We can finally go back. Kill our way back. These people roared crazily. Disregarding everything else, they soared into the sky and directly flew toward the enormous vortex. Get lost. Get lost. 2 thunderous voices sounded. Then, a sword light cut through the sky and earth. There was also a terrifying black palm, covering the sky and earth. The 2 experts who were flying over were sent flying. These 2 people's blood stained the sky. One of them was split in half, and the other was beaten into a bloody mist. Miserable cries sounded, and the 2 souls retreated crazily. The Xia family's branch was also shocked. Heavens, are these 2 gods descending? How could they be so terrifying? One should know that the ones who were sent flying were 2 great emperors. Damn it, who is it? The 2 injured great emperors recovered their bodies, and their faces became extremely ugly. The people of hell also looked up. In the next moment, when they saw the 2 figures, they were stunned. It's you. You're the kid from before. And you have the Jirio body. The 2 great emperors roared. The experts of the Xia family's branch were also roaring nonstop. These 2 people had left from this place before. Had they returned now? Xia Jiuyo, you've become a great emperor? The Xia family's people felt Xia Jiuyo's aura and were dumbfounded. How long has it been? He's already become a great emperor? That's right. I've become a great emperor. So, you're no match for me at all. Xia Juyo said coldly. The Xia family's branch sneered. That's not necessarily true. This time, it's not just us. There are other Taoists as well. Go and invite the people from the other side. You're courting death. Lin Xian's expression changed. Two beams of light shot out from his eyes, instantly killing a powerhouse from the Xia clan. Blood stained the sky. The members of the Xia family retreated in fear. How dare he team up with Higan? Damn it! Lin Xian made a powerful move and punched out. The terrifying nine-yang divine body erupted. The nine suns' godly fist pierced through the heavens and earth, turning many of the Xia clan members into ashes. Run! This is a demon. Fellow Taoist of the Prometha realm, please save us. All sorts of blood-curdling screams could be heard as the Xia family members fled one after another. Lin Xian punched again. It was as if a sun had descended upon the mortal world. However, at this moment, a cold snort came from the sky. Then, a terrifying amount of immortal qi condensed into a shield, blocking Lin Xian's fist. With a loud boom, the heavens collapsed and the earth cracked. The shield shook, but Lin Xian's fist was still blocked. Lin Wudi was too arrogant. A cold voice came from the sky. Then, a behemoth appeared. It was a figure, but it had two wings. It covered the sky and the earth. The feathers on its body were like sharp swords, shining with a cold light. Bayou Land. Lin Xian saw it and sneered. You're no match for me. Is that so? If he's no match for you, then what about us? After Bayou the Great, a few more figures arrived. There were 7 figures standing between heaven and earth. Each of them had an extremely powerful aura that swept across the area. They were dazzling and high above like immortal kings, looking down on all directions. These 7 figures were all great emperors. Moreover, they were all powerhouses of the Prometha realm. And us. On the other side, the Nether Venerable had also arrived. He snorted coldly and also brought 5 people with him. These 5 people were all supremes. The aura on their bodies was extremely cold. The majestic power seemed to have opened the gates of hell. Ha ha ha. The people of the Xia family branch laughed. Kid, let's see how you're going to die this time. Fellow Taoist, he's Lin Wudi. Kill him. And that old man is Xia Juyo. If you control him, you'll have a chance to open the Juryo land. Is that so? After hearing this, the eyes of the people of the Prometha realm burst out with a cold light. You're Xia Juyo, right? I'll give you a chance. Join the Prometha realm and I'll let you enjoy endless cultivation resources. You might even be able to go further. I refuse. Xia Juyo shook his head. Bayou the Great snorted coldly. Stupid thing. Do you know that you've missed a great opportunity? Going against the Prometha realm is a fate worse than death. Is that so? A fate worse than death? Not necessarily, right? Lin Xian also walked out. He snorted coldly and instantly summoned the great dragon sword soul. The biting cold sword light bloomed between heaven and earth. The incomparably sharp aura made the great emperors frown. This is the great dragon sword, right? Now that they had seen it with their own eyes, it was indeed extraordinary. But, so what? He only used the sword soul. Moreover, how much power could a quasi-emperor exert? The great emperors of the Prometha realm sneered. Is that so? Then feel it. Lin Xian held the great dragon sword in his hand and slashed out. The monstrous sword energy slashed down like a divine sword and hit the sky. With a boom, the great emperor who had mocked him before was sent flying and vomited blood. He was seriously injured. His body was cut in half and couldn't heal. Damn it! How dare you hurt me? He roared crazily. The other people also sucked in a breath of cold air. The power of the great dragon sword was so strong that it shocked them. A mere quasi-emperor could seriously injure them. So what? Nether Prime shouted coldly. This time, we have more than a dozen great emperors. Can't we kill him? No matter how strong he is, he can't resist. Hearing this, Lin Xian waved his hand, and another sword energy fragment appeared. The power of the 6 paths of reincarnation swept out. Those supremes were terrified. This is the power of reincarnation. Don't let your soul be surrounded by it. Lin Xian used the reincarnation sword fragment to strike out the reincarnation sword and slashed forward. After Nether Prime was injured, he almost lost half of his life. He was so scared that he trembled all over. Lin Xian laughed. You think you can defeat me? Come at me together. Lin Xian's eyes burst out with extreme madness. The great dragon sword soul in his right hand and the reincarnation sword Qi in his left hand. 2 of the 5 swords of the world appeared on his body at the same time. This scene was extremely shocking. The surrounding great emperors were all silent. Their expressions turned incomparably ugly. Great Emperor Baiyu said, "Don't fight him head-on. This kid is very strange. Ancestor, please make a move." That's right. Another great emperor also nodded. In order to avoid trouble, let's hurry up and ask the ancestor. After that, the people of the other side bowed respectfully. Ancestor, please make a move. Has the target discovered it? An old voice sounded between heaven and earth. Then, a figure cut through the void of the universe. Everyone in the universe could sense the arrival of a terrifying aura. Those powerhouses in the universe all knelt on the ground. What a terrifying power. Is this the arrival of an immortal? There are really immortals in the world. Countless people looked up. They saw a behemoth crossing the universe. Chapter 6083. Hell. In the incomparably cold, starry sky, countless white-bone, resentful spirits were crawling on the ground at this moment. Heavens, what kind of aura is this? They saw that the surrounding earth was cracking, the sky was shattering, and a figure that looked like an ancient mountain was descending. They had seen an immortal before. Some of the great emperors in hell bowed. When the others heard this, they gasped. An immortal? Had a character of such a level descended? Was this an existence in myths and legends? The terrifying power was still spreading, from the first level of hell all the way down. Not long after, they arrived at the 17th level of hell. On the 17th level, the void was completely shattered, turning into nothingness. More than a dozen great emperors bowed respectfully to the void. The people of the Xia family's branch felt their scalps go numb as they knelt on the ground. They didn't dare to offend such a figure at all. Xia Zhuyo's expression changed. Oh no, it's an immortal, an earth immortal. Previously, when they were in the creation celestial pool, they had met a demonic immortal whose strength was terrifying and unparalleled. Killing a great emperor was as easy as snapping a finger. They couldn't resist such a person at all. Even if they risked their lives, they weren't qualified. Lin Xian's eyebrows were tightly knitted together as well. He could also sense the impending danger. Was another immortal descending upon them? It was really a headache. Last time, he relied on the power of the immortal tower to escape the pursuit of the demonic immortal. What about this time? He clenched his fists and quickly probed the things inside the sword world. There was also an emperor bone and the longevity lamp. It seemed that he could only risk his life. Lin Xian clenched the great dragon's sword soul tightly. The behemoth in the sky descended. Only then did everyone realize that it was a tortoise. It had a huge body and an old face. No one knew how many tens of thousands of years it had lived. It was Master Rashi of the Paramitha realm. After he arrived, he lowered his head and looked down. Soon, he stared at Lin Xian. Great dragon sword, reincarnation sword. You're the young man who went against the Paramitha realm, right? You're really talented. You can actually get 2 of the 5 swords in the world. But unfortunately, they're all broken. What's more, you're just a quasi-emperor. Kneel down and hand the 2 items to Higan. Then, I'll give you a quick death. Lin Wudi, kneel down and greet the immortal. Immortal is not someone you can offend. So what if he was an immortal? It's not like I haven't seen it before. I even walked out of the immortal realm alive. Why couldn't he offend him? The other emperors sneered after hearing that. You survived from immortal? Are you kidding me? Immortal, one look is enough to kill you. Master Rashi also snorted coldly. He's really arrogant. After saying that, he exhaled. A wisp of immortal chi lunged forward like a peerless killing intent. Xia Zhuyo felt as if he was struck by lightning. Lin Xian's face was also pale. His body was about to crack. It had to be said that Master Rashi was really terrifying. A single breath of his seemed to be able to kill countless great emperors. At this critical moment, Lin Xian roared. The great dragon sword spirit circled around his body, emitting a peerless aura. At the same time, he did not dare to be careless. He immediately took out a skeleton and floated in front of him. The skeleton was obtained from the Soul Emperor. This skeleton was different from the one in the stone coffin. The one in the stone coffin was very quiet. However, this skeleton emitted a trace of light. He blocked this wisp of immortal chi. Even on the skeleton, a mysterious pattern erupted and spread all over the surroundings. He actually blocked it. The surrounding great emperors were dumbfounded. It was too unbelievable. How did the other party do it? Even if the other party had the great dragon sword spirit, he might not be able to block it, right? Because the other party was only a quasi-emperor. He could not unleash the full power of the great dragon sword spirit. The immortal was also stunned. He realized that it was not the power of the great dragon sword spirit, nor the power of the reincarnation sword. It was a bone. A small bone could block his breath of immortal chi. His face darkened. It seemed that it should be the bone of a supreme expert. It blocked this attack. Lin Xian breathed a sigh of relief, as expected of the ancient Emperor Zun. However, the crisis was not resolved. It only blocked the other party's breath. If the other party moved his claws, they probably wouldn't be able to block it. Lin Xian said to Xia Jiuyo, Elder Xia, find a chance to escape. Follow me closely. If you really can't, I'll take you to a strange place. Yes. Xia Jiuyo nodded, his face incomparably cold. He didn't expect to meet an Earth immortal as soon as he came out. It seemed that he had no choice but to run away. At this moment, a spatial door appeared in the sky. Soon after, two figures walked out from inside. Who came at this time? Could it be that the people from the God realm had come? The people from the otherworld Heavenly King frowned. The God realm was their archenemy. Great, there was hope. Lin Xian and the others were also happy. Everyone looked at the spatial door. However, when they saw the two figures, everyone was stunned. Even Lin Xian was dumbfounded. Black Mountain and the North Demon. That's right, it was these two who had come. After Black Mountain came, he said with a smile, Boy, it seems that I'm not late. What are you two doing here? Hurry up and leave. You're no match for them. Go and call Lord Geo and my father. As soon as he finished speaking, Black Mountain had already arrived. Chapter 6084. In the sky, a white jade palm suddenly appeared and collided with Master Rashi's claws. In an instant, countless terrifying cracks appeared in the sky. There were even countless stars that were shattered into pieces. The attack was so powerful that it tore a rift in the 18 hells. Many of the creatures inside had been reduced to ashes. Xia Jiuyo opened her eyes and exclaimed, Not dead? Lin Xian was also surprised. This palm is so terrifying. Is another Earth immortal coming? Who is it? He looked at Black Mountain. Black Mountain smiled. You're finally here. Damn it. Who is it? Who dares to fight against me? Master Rashi let out an angry roar. He had attacked twice, but failed to kill a few little ants. He was ashamed. He roared crazily, and another stream of immortal energy surged and turned into a bolt of lightning. It could even split the sky open. He charged over. However, in the sky, a seven-colored light hung down and turned into a sky curtain, blocking the lightning. So what if you're an immortal? A cold voice sounded, and a white-clothed figure appeared between heaven and earth. Her face was extremely beautiful, and her body carried an ethereal aura as if she would become an immortal at any time. It was her. When Lin Xian saw this figure, he was stunned. He knew this person. The surrounding great emperors felt their scalps go numb because this newly appeared woman in white also carried an extremely terrifying aura. It was an aura that surpassed the great emperors and was similar to Master Rashi's aura. This was an immortal. Has another Earth immortal appeared? It was unbelievable. Damn it. Is she from the divine realm? They gritted their teeth. They didn't expect that at this critical moment, an expert from the divine realm would come. After Master Rashi saw it, His pupils constricted and his face darkened. Guanghan Immortal, it's you. You actually want to help them. Do you know that they are from the divine realm? I know. I'm here to save their lives. Leave. With me here. You can't kill them. The Guanghan Immortal came to Lin Xian and the others and said indifferently. Lin Xian and the others also bowed. Greetings, Senior. The Moon Immortal turned to look at Lin Xian and nodded slightly. Little guy, we meet again. That's great. Lin Xian and the rest laughed. With this land immortal around, their lives were no longer in danger. Master Rashi's face turned ugly. He roared angrily. Do you know what you're talking about? Do you want to go against Higan? The Guanghan Immortal shook his head. To be honest, I don't want to be your enemy, but I can't let you hurt them. Wishful thinking. Master Rashi roared and attacked again. His massive body came crashing down, shattering the 9 heavens and 10 earths. Hell had been torn apart, and the Xia clan had long since fled. Those that did not manage to escape were reduced to a bloody mist by this power. It wasn't just the people in the 17th level of hell who were fleeing. There was nothing he could do about it. 2 immortals were fighting, and the destruction they caused was too terrifying. At this moment, even the great emperors had fled. Only the Higan Immortal and the Supreme Palace were still there. Facing Master Rashi's attack, the Guanghan Immortal sighed and waved her hand. A treasure tree that shone with 7-colored light appeared in her hand. With a gentle sweep, the 7-colored immortal light swept across the 9 heavens. The two fought fiercely. It's useless. Master Rashi, we're in the same realm. It's very difficult to determine the winner. You can't keep me here, and you can't hurt them. Stop, don't waste your strength. Damn it. Master Rashi gritted his teeth. Indeed, he couldn't defeat the Guanghan Immortal in a short period of time. However, how could he let the other party leave? This time, he had come under orders. If he left like this, he wouldn't be able to explain himself. Thinking of this, he turned his head and said to the people of the Supreme Palace, What? Don't tell me the Supreme Palace doesn't plan to make a move? Where's the Grim Reaper? Tell him to get over here. Netherworld's Sovereign and the others were so scared that their scalps went numb. They hurriedly sent a message. A crack appeared on their backs. A death scythe appeared. Following it, a figure surrounded by a deathly aura walked out. This figure was extremely tall. As soon as he appeared, the aura of death spread in all directions. It turned everything into azure hell. He was the Grim Reaper. Greetings, Lord Grim Reaper. Netherworld Sovereign and the others quickly knelt down and bowed. After the Grim Reaper arrived, they stared ahead. He said in a deep voice, Guanghan Immortal, long time no see. Are you going to go against us? You're so beautiful. It would be a pity if you were killed. I'm afraid you don't have the ability. The Guanghan Immortal snorted coldly. Is that so? My power is not something you can imagine. The Grim Reaper waved his hand, and the death scythe flew out. A black light streaked across the 9 heavens and slashed down. This was an aura that could destroy the world. Lin Xian and the others felt their hair stand on end. They hurriedly used the great dragon sword Qi to block this destructive power. Otherwise, even if they weren't hit, the remaining power of this power could turn them into white bones. An Earth Immortal level figure was too powerful. The Guanghan Immortal took out the rainbow treasure tree and used it to block everything. A sonorous sound rang out. But at this moment, Master Rashi made his move. He punched out and directly pushed the Guanghan Immortal back. The Guanghan Immortal frowned slightly. Not good. Xia Zhuya was worried. 2 against 1. The situation is really not good. Lin Xian said, Senior, in this situation, it's not good to fight for a long time. Take us away first. We'll come back later. Don't worry, they can't hurt you. After the Guanghan Immortal finished speaking, she looked at the void. She said, Since you're here, make your move. Is there anyone else? Lin Xian and the others were stunned. Black Mountain was also excited. Are you here? In the sky, a cold voice sounded again. I'm indeed here, but don't flatter yourself. I'm not here to help you. I just don't like hell. I don't like the Grim Reaper. I want to see who's better today. As soon as the voice fell, The void was cut into pieces by endless saber light. Then, a figure wearing a mask walked in. This figure was surrounded by endless murderous intent, and there was an illusion of the moon behind her. She was peerless and made people look up to her. However, the murderous intent on her body was terrifying. So scary. Xia Zhuyo's scalp went numb. Lin Xian was shocked. It's her. He remembered that this was another kind of powerhouse he saw in the Moon Palace. Back then, he saw two mysterious people in the Moon Palace. One was the Guanghan Immortal, and the other was a woman called the Moon Goddess. That woman wanted to kill him back then. It seemed that it was because he had the power of the Demon Emperor. Now, the other party came to help him. What was going on? He looked at Black Mountain. Black Mountain said, "It's a long story. I'll tell you in detail later." This new figure made countless people raise their heads to look up at him. Great Emperor Baiyu, Netherworld Sovereign, and the others were also terrified. The murderous intent on the other party was too terrifying. It was not weaker than the Grim Reaper at all. The Grim Reaper also frowned. He said coldly, "Moon Goddess, you're still alive." The Moon Goddess snorted. "You're not dead. How can I die? Are you here to help them? Do you want to become enemies with the Supreme Palace?" The Grim Reaper's voice was emotionless. The Moon Goddess said, "No, I'm here to compete with you. I just want to know if the hell you built is more powerful, or the human world I built is more powerful." Chapter 6085. The Moon God's voice was extremely cold and filled with endless killing intent. After Lin Xian heard this, he was completely stunned. What? The human world was actually created by him. It was unbelievable. One had to know that he had been hunted down by the human world before. Not only that, he had also been hunted down by the people of Hell. Could it be that Hell was created by the god of death? Thinking of this, he sucked in a breath of cold air. He didn't expect that behind these killer palaces was an earth immortal. No wonder it had been passed down for so long. What about the Heavenly Court, which was equally famous as these two? The Heavenly Court also had an extremely terrifying killer palace. Who created it? It must be an earth immortal. Lin Xian was very curious about this, but now he didn't have time to ask Black Mountain, because he was afraid that an extremely terrifying divine battle would happen next. Do you want to know who is stronger between Hell and the human world? Very well, you'll know after a battle. The black sickle blotted out the sky and covered the earth as it slashed forward. Do you think I'm afraid of you? The Moon God snorted coldly and waved her hand. Endless weapon fragments condensed in her hand, forming a scimitar. The full moon scimitar slashed out, shattering heaven and earth. With a clang, the two weapons collided. These were two divine artifacts. After one strike, the power was extremely terrifying. The 18th level of Hell was split in half. Then, the two of them retreated. When the god of death saw this scene, his face was extremely cold. The 18th level of Hell was the source of his collection of geniuses. If this place was destroyed, then his territory would be gone as well. He gritted his teeth and said, "Control your power. Do you dare to compete with me?" "No problem." The Moon God snorted coldly, killing of the moon. Although the law immortal energy this time was terrifying, the range of its attack had been controlled to a certain area. It couldn't threaten anyone else. Lin Xian and the others were shocked. This was an earth immortal. His control over his power was extremely precise. The two of them fought, and the divine battle completely broke out. Lin Xian and the others were dazzled. This strength had completely surpassed the great emperor. Sure enough, the surrounding great emperors were also trembling in fear. Master Rashi lowered his gaze again and stared at Lin Xian and the others. However, the Guang Hanxian walked over, and the two of them started fighting again. These two were fighting immortals. The two of them also controlled their power so that it did not affect anything else. The martial monarchs let out a relieved sigh. Otherwise, they wouldn't be able to escape once the four Earth Immortals attacked. He would probably be reduced to ashes by the remaining power of this energy. Too powerful. Lin Xian, Xia Zhuyo, and the others felt their blood boil. On the other side, martial monarch Baiyu, Netherworld Supremacy, and the others were having a discussion too. Should he make a move now? Let's take down Lin Xian together. However, Master Rashi sent a voice transmission to Great Emperor Baiyu, saying, "Don't attack first. I have my own plan." As long as the opponent's Earth Immortal was defeated, that kid would not be able to escape. Yes, Great Emperor Baiyu was stunned when she heard this. He naturally did not dare to destroy Master Rashi's plan. Thus, he could only shake his head at the Netherworld Sovereign. Let's wait for the battle of the Immortals to come to an end. Master Rashi kept attacking. His defense was very terrifying. The seven-colored immortal light hit his turtle shell, making an earth-shattering sound. However, it did not hurt him. He said coldly, "It's useless. No one can break my defense." "Is that so? Then you can't break my seven-colored immortal light either." The Seven Wonders tree in the Guanghan Immortal's hand was also very mysterious. Although the battle between the two was shocking, it would be difficult to determine the winner in a short period of time. That might not be the case. Master Rashi suddenly laughed strangely. The Guanghan Immortal frowned. Why is this guy laughing so sinisterly? Could it be a trap? Thinking of this, she quickly retreated. However, at this moment, the void shattered, and a long sword slashed down from the sky. The sword energy carried endless killing intent, making everyone's hair stand on end. "Wanna leave?" It was too late. Not good. When the others saw this scene, their expressions changed drastically. What's going on? Why is there another earth-shattering power? Earth Immortal. Another Earth Immortal had arrived. The great emperors roared in horror. The people of the Supreme Hall were dumbfounded. Great Emperor Baiyu and the others from the other side cheered. "It's the Essence Immortal. That's great." No wonder Master Rashi didn't let them make a move. It turned out that the Essence Immortal was hiding in the dark. At the critical moment, he made a killing move. Lin Xian was also shocked. He exclaimed, "I recognize this sword. It's the dragon-slaying sword." Damn it, could it be that Essence Immortal? Not good, senior, retreat. Lin Xian roared angrily. At the same time, he roared into the sky. The immortal slaying sword and the great dragon sword merged and were thrown out by him. It turned into a ray of holy light and charged towards the dragon-slaying sword. Clang! The sound of metal colliding was like the roar of thousands of soldiers and horses. The dragon-slaying sword shook slightly, but in the next moment, it sent the immortal slaying sword flying. The immortal slaying sword flew backward. It did not seem to affect the dragon-slaying sword. The Essence Immortal's eyes were like two lanterns in the immortal world. He turned his head and stared at Lin Xian. "Little ant, you have a divine artifact, but so what? You still can't fight against a real land immortal." The immortal light in his eyes suddenly erupted as he charged towards Lin Xian. Not good. Lin Xian felt as if he had been struck by lightning. He gritted his teeth and took out the heaven-swallowing jar, creating an endless vortex. He placed another emperor bone in front of him. However, he was still beaten until he vomited blood. He felt that all the bones in his body had cracked and his soul was about to be extinguished. At the critical moment, the seven-colored immortal energy came in front of him and blocked the sword. At the same time, the Guanghan Immortal's voice sounded, "Hurry up and leave. You are not his match." Guanghan Immortal, are you still in the mood to care about others? The Essence Immortal sneered as the dragon-slaying sword slashed over again. Master Rashi also attacked. 2 against 1. Moreover, they were 2 land immortals, causing the Guanghan Immortal to be in extreme danger. Xia Jiuyo and the others were in despair. Lin Xian also roared. He was prepared to open the sword world and activate the great dragon sword soul without caring about anything else. However, at this moment, the sky collapsed and the earth cracked. Thousands of black holes appeared in the 9 heavens. Then, a force that could topple mountains and overturn seas struck the dragon-slaying sword. With a clang, the dragon-slaying sword was shaken by the impact. Endless sword energy pierced through all directions. In the end, the dragon-slaying sword was sent flying. How was this possible? The Essence Immortal was stunned. Master Rashi was also shocked and stood there in a daze. He didn't make a move. Who was it? Had another existence that wasn't weaker than them appeared? The Guanghan immortal also suddenly raised his head and looked at the endless black holes. "This," she exclaimed. On the other side, the death god and the moon god who were fighting also stopped. They stood on both sides. Boundless killing intent filled the air. The entire atmosphere was extremely oppressive, but at this moment, no one dared to make a move. The reason for that was because they could sense an extremely frightening power coming from the sky. Another Earth immortal level person? Is he here? Lin Xian also raised his head. He used his Rinnegan. However, he realized that his Rinnegan couldn't see through it at all. In the sky, there were countless clouds and mist that filled the air, covering everything. However, since the other party had saved the Guanghan immortal, they should be on their side. Was it a land immortal from the divine realm? Chapter 6086. Suddenly, thousands of black holes appeared in the sky. Everyone raised their heads and looked over. Even the few Earth immortals furrowed their brows. Master Rashi snorted coldly. "Who is it? Come out and pretend to be a ghost." Boom. As soon as he finished speaking, two rays of light suddenly appeared in the countless black holes. They were two golden flames, like small suns, jumping and spinning. Then, wherever they looked, the sky collapsed and the earth cracked. Everyone sucked in a breath of cold air. They realized that the two flames were eyes. Two golden eyes. Lin Xian's Rinnegan also kept jumping. He was really shocked. What kind of eyes were these? They seemed to be even more terrifying than the Rinnegan. The arrogant Master Rashi also looked as if he had seen a ghost. He seemed to have thought of something. Could it be? Before he could finish his words, the golden eyes cut through the sky and landed on him. Boom. Master Rashi's huge body flew backward, and he even coughed out a mouthful of blood. The world shattered. Everyone was dumbfounded. Impossible, right? Great Emperor Baiyu and the others went crazy. Previously, Master Rashi and Guanghan Immortal had fought for so long, and the two of them were evenly matched and had not been injured. This was because Master Rashi was known for his defense. His turtle shell seemed to be able to resist all attacks. Innates were invincible. But now, a single gaze from the sky had injured Master Rashi. How terrifying was this person? The other great emperors were also dumbfounded. When they looked at the pair of golden eyes, they suddenly screamed in agony. Their eyes were stinging, and even some great emperors were bleeding. Netherworld's sovereign covered his eyes, and blood tears flowed from his eyes. There was nothing he could do. It was too painful. The other party's eyes were filled with incomparable flames, making them unable to look directly at him. Apart from them, Higan was the same. Even Xia Jiuyo, Black Mountain, and the others lowered their heads, not daring to look. Apart from a few Earth immortals, it seemed that only Lin Xian could use his Rinnegan to investigate. However, that was all. Lin Xian was extremely shocked. Who on earth was this person? The Guanghan immortal took a deep breath. Fiery eyes of truth. I didn't expect him to be here too. After saying that, she smiled. Don't worry, we'll definitely win this time. Who was this person? To think that the Guanghan immortal would say something so confident. On the other side, Master Rashi also got up. He looked up at the sky and roared madly. Battle God, you're awake too? That's impossible. Humph. A voice came from the sky. It was like a clap of thunder piercing through the 9 heavens, causing everyone's bodies to split apart. Then, a figure appeared behind the pair of golden eyes. Countless clouds filled the air, carrying him. Amidst the auspicious clouds, a figure sat cross-legged. It was a stone monkey. He sat upright in the clouds, like a god above the 9 heavens. Damn it, it's really him. The virtual immortal's expression was also extremely ugly. On the other side, the moon goddess's eyes flickered. Even the fighting god had appeared. The Grim Reaper didn't make a move either. He was also facing a great enemy. That was because this name was too unusual. His opponents break the universe, break the heavens. It was a myth. In the sky, the fighting god looked down. The radiance of his fiery golden eyes was restrained, and the flames in his eyes kept spinning. He stared at Master Rashi and said coldly, "You turtle, how dare you come out to stir up trouble?" Aren't you afraid that I'll suppress you again? His loud voice was like the roar of a god. Master Rashi was so scared that he trembled, because he thought of his past. Back then, he had fought with the other party, but he was seriously injured and even fell into a deep sleep for hundreds of thousands of years. He was no match for the other party. The virtual immortal beside him snorted coldly. Don't be arrogant. There are many experts in the Nirvana realm. There are even grand elders who stand above the 9 heavens. Do you think you can withstand it? Is that so? Then why can't they come out? The fighting god shook his head. You. The virtual immortal trembled in anger. Indeed, there were many experts in the Nirvana realm. But so what if they couldn't come out? The fighting god ignored them and looked at Lin Xian and Xia Jiuyo. The two of them bowed. Lin Xian said, "Greetings, senior." He now understood who it was. It was the stone monkey in the cave of the slanting moon and 3 stars. Back then, he had gone to the cave of the slanting moon and 3 stars and obtained the Bodhi fruit there. There was a stone monkey under the Bodhi tree. Not only that, there was another world in the cave of the slanting moon and 3 stars. There was a man sleeping on the Dragon Mountain. This stone monkey was actually so terrifying. It was a land immortal. Who was that man? In the sky, the fighting god said, "Follow me." He didn't do anything. He just looked down. Clouds filled the air around Lin Xian and Xia Jiuyo, forming 2 auspicious clouds. He brought them into the sky. "How dare you?" The virtual immortal roared. The Grim Reaper also snorted coldly. "Do you think we don't exist?" They had been fighting for so long. Wasn't it just a fight for Xia Jiuyo? The people of the Nirvana realm even wanted to kill Lin Xian. But now, these 2 important people were taken away by the other party? "Do you want to fight?" The fighting god snorted coldly. The golden light in his eyes was originally restrained, but it suddenly bloomed. The entire sky was completely enveloped by this flame, constantly shattering. At a glance, it burned the world. Those great emperors were so scared that they prostrated on the ground. It was too terrifying. What kind of power was this? It was as if he could kill all of them with just a glance. The land immortal on the other side fell silent. Master Rashi gritted his teeth. This damn monkey's aura was too strong. They couldn't fight. The virtual immortal didn't dare to make a move. If it was 3 against 1, they would definitely attack without hesitation. But now, it was 3 against 3. If they really wanted to fight, Master Rashi wasn't a match. He didn't even have the courage to fight. Then, he would be facing the fighting god. Facing a legendary figure, the virtual immortal was also under a lot of pressure. He felt that his chances of winning were only 30%. It wasn't even certain. That was because no one knew what level the battle god had reached. Thinking of this, he turned his head to look at the death god. The death god also shook his head slightly and said through voice transmission, "We can't fight unless 2 more land immortals come." Land immortals weren't cabbages. Moreover, in the previous battle, countless people were injured. A large number of great emperors fell, and even the land immortals were seriously injured. The better ones were like the virtual immortals, who were recovering silently. The worse ones were like Master Rashi, who had been sleeping for millions of years. There were also some who hadn't woken up yet. Therefore, they couldn't bring out such a lineup at the moment. It seemed that they could only retreat. At this moment, the fighting god in the sky spoke again. "The 9 Netherland will be opened by the divine realm. You can only enter after 3 years." 3 years. Damn it. The virtual immortal and the others gritted their teeth. 3 years was enough for too many things to happen. The divine realm entered first and set up the trap first. After they entered, they would be quite passive. Even some of the treasures in the 9 Netherland would be snatched by the divine realm first. Damn it. They had calculated everything, but they didn't expect the fighting god to wake up. Chapter 6087. The people of the Nirvana realm and the Supreme Hall left. The surroundings were a mess, as if the chaos had just begun. This was the scene left behind after the battle between the land immortals. This was because they had controlled their power. Otherwise, with one blow, the 18 levels of hell would have been reduced to ashes. They were finally gone. Black Mountain and the others breathed a sigh of relief. It was really dangerous just now. The battle between the gods and the immortals was so far away from them. However, it happened in front of them at this moment. Lin Xian and Xiaojuya were also pale. This was especially so for Lin Xian, who clenched his fists tightly. Strength. This was absolute strength, a supreme existence. When would he be able to reach this step? Lin Xian. A resounding voice came from behind the battle god. Lin Xian was stunned and turned his head. It's you, Sun Qitian. You're here too. Sun Qitian smiled. Long time no see. I came with my father. Your father? Lin Xian was completely stunned. This fighting god was Sun Qitian's father. It was incredible. Little guy, I see that your strength has reached the peak of the quasi-emperor. You should be breaking through to the emperor realm soon. As soon as he said that, Sun Qitian was also surprised. So fast. Lin Xian, are you going to take the divine path? Or the immortal path? Before Lin Xian could speak, the fighting god said, the divine fire seed has reached the peak, and the immortal chi seed has reached perfection. It seems that you don't want to give up either of them? That's right, senior. I want to take the immortal path. No way. Sun Qitian was startled. Guanghan Immortal also frowned. Even the moon goddess snorted coldly. You're too greedy. Even the demon emperor, that old ghost, doesn't dare to take such a path. If you continue like this, your body and soul will be destroyed. The loss outweighs the gain. Not necessarily. Lin Xian said, there's still a chance. I cultivate the Taiji painting. It can fuse yin and yang. In addition, I found an immortal pagoda in the 9 serenities. It seems to be called the 7 Treasures Exquisite Pagoda. Dalong said that if he could find the heaven-earth mysterious yellow pagoda, he might be able to open a path to the immortal path. The 7 Treasures Exquisite Pagoda. Moon God was shocked. The fighting god said, Tai Chi gives birth to yin and yang. If you use the Tai Chi diagram as the foundation, you might really be able to do it. However, no one has done it before, so I can't say for sure what the chances of success are. Guanghan Immortal beside him said, yeah, the black-yellow pagoda of heaven and earth is even harder to find. What if you can't find it? Lin Xian was stunned. He had never thought about this before, because in his knowledge, there was nothing he couldn't find. Beside him, the battle god also raised his head to look at the sky. The golden light in his eyes suddenly pierced through the 9 heavens as he looked at the endless void. What's wrong? The Guanghan Immortal was nervous. Did the people of the Nirvana realm make a comeback? The moon goddess snorted and said, then let's kill them all. A murderous aura instantly erupted from her body. Even Lin Xian and the others looked as if they were facing a great enemy. Was another great battle coming? However, the war god shook his head slightly. No, it wasn't someone from the otherworld realm, nor was it someone from the Supreme Palace. I sensed an aura. The others were puzzled. What aura? It could make the war god so surprised. The war god didn't say anything. After watching for half an hour, he withdrew his gaze. Then, he actually smiled. Haha, little guy, you're so lucky. I sensed that the black-yellow pagoda of heaven and earth has appeared. Really? Lin Xian was overjoyed. The moon goddess and the Guanghan Immortal also felt incredible. The 7 Treasures Exquisite Pagoda and the black-yellow pagoda of heaven and earth appeared one after another. It should be known that in the endless years, it was already heaven-defying to have one appear. But now, they appeared at the same time. Moreover, it was on the eve of Lin Xian's Tao validation. Could it be that Lin Xian was really going to walk the Tao of Immortals? Senior, where is the black-yellow pagoda of heaven and earth? Lin Xian asked anxiously. He must find it because it was his hope of Tao validation. The war god said, little guy, don't panic. That thing can't run away. Besides, it won't be obtained by outsiders. Let's open the 9th underworld first. Oh, Lin Xian froze, then nodded. That's right. How could something that had been targeted by the battle god run away? He thought that the war god was extremely confident that he could snatch the black-yellow pagoda of heaven and earth under the siege of the Nirvana realm and the Supreme Palace. However, he later realized that he was wrong. The war god didn't mean that. Of course, he didn't know yet. The most important thing now was to open the 9th underworld. Lin Xian must get the 7 treasures exquisite pagoda inside. Xiaojio took a deep breath and used his 9 underworld physique to the extreme. Lin Xian also waved his hand and took out 2 wordless heavenly steels. There was another wordless heavenly steel in hell. At this moment, it flew out automatically after being sensed. The 3 wordless heavenly steels stood in 3 directions, representing heaven, earth, and man. Then, they used the 9 underworld physique as the key to open the 9th underworld. Crack, crack, crack. An ancient sound rang between heaven and earth, as if a new time and space had been restarted. At this moment, a mysterious and primitive aura came from the void. Everyone was shocked. The people in hell were shocked. What is this? Has the ancient world been opened? I felt a strong, in power. Great, I'm going to break through. A new world has arrived. It's incredible. The people in hell all roared crazily. Not only hell, but all the worlds in the universe also sensed it. What has appeared? Oh heavens, is another land of immortals descending upon us? No, I feel that this aura is even more terrifying than the deity ground. It's more than 10 times stronger. The people in the universe also went crazy. Some people who cultivated the Yin power were trembling with excitement. If they could get this power, they could advance by leaps and bounds. Great, as expected of the Golden Age. They knelt down and cheered. The people in the deity ground also felt it. Many people felt their hair stand on end. They looked at the universe from afar, shocked. This universe was too mysterious. There were endless secrets in all the worlds in the universe. In the beginning, when the deity ground descended, these people looked down on the universe. They thought that it was an inferior world. It was just a small universe that could be destroyed easily. However, the more they came into contact with it, the more shocked they were. Because endless secrets were buried in the universe. As a matter of fact, a new power had appeared. The Divine Union, the Yi family, the Gu family, the Phoenix clan, the Qilin clan, these great emperor families, and the remote antiquity families. At this moment, all of them were shocked. It could be said that all the living beings in the universe and all the worlds in the universe were shocked. At this moment, everyone in the 9 serenities was panicking. It seemed that something incredible was about to happen. In the 9 serenities, some of these families had many great emperors. Some even cultivated 2 strands of immortal qi. At this moment, they felt their eyelids twitching and their souls trembling. They couldn't help but look up at the sky. What is going to happen? Why am I so uneasy? In an ancient palace, a white-haired great emperor sighed. It's here. It's finally here. He was the great emperor who had chased away his little disciple. In the endless abyss, a great emperor in black armor also took a deep breath. This feeling of the unknown, was it hope or destruction? Previously, he had personally put his 2 children to sleep, waiting for them to wake up after 10,000 years. This was because he didn't know what would happen when the experts outside arrived. Would it be the same as millions of years ago? Chapter 6088. Terrified and miserable screams echoed throughout the 9 serenities continent. Even the lofty great emperors were shocked at this moment. The 9th summit. There was a mysterious summit surrounded by clouds and mist. It looked like a mountain in a sea of clouds. Inside, Bu Tian's face was pale. He said, "What is this aura? Why do I feel so uncomfortable?" Xueqi walked over and said, "Don't be afraid. This is the aura outside. My husband and the others have succeeded. The 9 serenities is opening." The aura outside? Bu Tian's face was blank. Xueqi shot out a law and surrounded him. Then, she said, "The 9 serenities is full of cold and dark aura all year round. You've lived here for many years, so you haven't seen the outside. The outside world not only has the power of Yin, but also the power of Yang. This might be the first time you've come into contact with the power of Yang, but you'll get used to it." Bu Tian nodded. "Big sister, don't worry. I'll get used to it." There was a loud boom. Right at this moment, the sea of clouds rolled, and countless mists filled the air. Bu Tian's face changed. "Oh no, someone is attacking the array." Xia Xingchen said, "Could it be that the enemy is here?" Shueqi said, "You too, stay inside. I'll go and take a look." After saying that, she walked forward. Her eyes shone with a cold light. Shueqi's soul covered the front. Then, she frowned. There was indeed someone attacking them. Moreover, the person who came was someone she knew. Xia Kuangsha. Wasn't this person beaten to the bottom of the mysterious lake by them? Why did he come out again? Yes, the person who came was Xia Kuangsha. The power of Yang from the outside gradually surged in, making everyone on the Nine Serenities continent feel numb. Even Xia Kuangsha felt the same. He was very uneasy. Therefore, he sped up. Finally, he arrived at the ninth summit. When he saw the clouds outside, he slashed out with his saber. The saber light was so cold that it split the sky and the earth. However, when it hit the clouds, it only made them roll. What a strange thing. How could a mere sea of clouds block his attack? He circled the ninth summit once. He found that the entire ninth summit was wrapped in a sea of clouds. He frowned when he felt the power contained in the sea of clouds. This was an extremely powerful formation. But, so what? He was a super martial monarch who possessed 2 strands of immortal chi. Upon having this thought, he harumphed coldly and waved his hand. A terrifying tornado began to spin in his palm. The flying sand and pebbles carried an incomparably sharp force. Even if a great emperor was hit by it, he would be instantly split apart. Boom! The attack flew out of the palm and grew in size, transforming into a tornado that whistled through the air. After the wind passed, nothing could stop it. When it entered the sea of clouds, it tore a crack in the sea of clouds. Not good. When Shueqi witnessed this, her expression changed drastically. Xia Kuangsha's strength had exceeded her expectations. Although the cloud sea formation was terrifying and could stop a martial emperor, it was still too weak. However, Xia Kuangsha possessed 2 strands of immortal chi. He was far stronger than ordinary great emperors. Although the opponent's attack couldn't tear the sea of clouds apart, if this continued, the sea of clouds would be torn apart in 3 days. What followed next was a bitter battle. Shueqi took a deep breath, and a cold light shone in her eyes. She raised her head to look at the sky and felt that the power of the sun outside was increasing. She said, "Husband, you must hurry up and come here. Although this formation is powerful, it can't stop me. Give me 2 days, and I will be able to break it." A cold light shone in Xia Kuangsha's eyes. He waved his hand, and 2 strands of immortal chi spread out, absorbing the cold power between heaven and earth. They turned into gusts of wind and flew forward. The sea of clouds churned, and the formation was continuously attacked. This was because the formation set up by a heavenly master was extremely powerful. Otherwise, any great emperor-level formation would be instantly torn apart by Xia Kuangsha's attack. However, even if it was set up by a heavenly master, it wouldn't be able to last for long. Only 2 days. On the 9th peak, Butian and Xia Xingqian's faces were pale. They said, "We won't be killed by him, right? Why haven't grandfather and the others come back yet? Don't worry, they will be back soon." Shueqi held the 9 nether sword tightly. She wouldn't let anyone harm Butian and Xia Xingqian. In the blink of an eye, a day had passed, and half of the cloud sea formation had been destroyed. Xia Kuangsha was getting closer and closer to them. He was less than 100 meters away. Xia Kuangsha could already see Shueqi and the others on the 9th peak laughing. "Just you wait. When I tear the formation apart, I will make you suffer a fate worse than death." He continued to wave his hand, and sand and stones flew all over the sky. Together with the immortal chi, it was extremely terrifying. Half a day later, he advanced another 50 meters. "It's over." Butian's face was cold. "I can already feel that the formation won't be able to hold on for much longer. In an hour, at most an hour, our formation will be destroyed." Shueqi stood up and took a deep breath. "I will stop them and send you away." Her eyes shone with a cold light. Her 9 nether sword technique could open a spatial tunnel and send them outside. However, every time she used it, she had to wait for a long time. Last time, she sent 9 nether and Lin Xian out. Now, she couldn't open a spatial tunnel again for the time being. However, She swore that she wouldn't let him succeed even if she had to risk her life. You want to run? None of you will be able to escape. Chapter 6089. Damn it! What's going on? Xia Guangsha was terrified. He had never seen this kind of light before. He felt as if he was about to be turned into ashes. He used the power of the netherworld to revolve around him. Xueqi, on the other hand, was overjoyed. This is great. The netherworld has been opened. My husband and the others have succeeded. She looked ahead and said in a deep voice, "This is the power of the sun." The sun? Stop joking. Xia Guangsha roared. I've blown up no less than 5 small suns. None of them could block my punch. How is this sunlight? Indeed, there was once when he was drunk and looked at the sun in the sky, so he punched through it. After all, he was a great emperor who had cultivated 2 strands of immortal energy. So, a mere sun was nothing to him. Xueqi sneered. You're just a frog at the bottom of a well. You're talking about the sun of the netherworld. Now, it's the sun of all the realms, the sun of the universe. This kind of sunlight is the purest. It's something you've never seen in your life. The sun of all the realms? The sun of the universe? Xia Guangsha was stunned when he heard this. He seemed to come back to his senses. He roared in horror. Are you saying that the netherworld has been opened? How is this possible? For millions of years, the netherworld had never been opened. They had long gotten used to it. But now, the other party was telling him that the netherworld had been opened just like this. The Xia family's plan hadn't succeeded yet. He was a member of the Xia family, and the Xia family had always had a plan, which was to open the netherworld. However, they needed to find the body of the netherworld first. Now, the plan hadn't even started, but someone had already opened the netherworld? Damn it! What's going on? He had to finish the battle quickly. Xia Guangsha roared. He formed the netherworld armor and attacked again. Even if the netherworld had been opened, so what? He had to catch that boy and bring him to the monster immortal. Otherwise, the runes that the monster immortal had planted in his body would split open. He would be turned into ashes. As he thought of this, he endured the pain and attacked again. However, at this moment, several figures descended from the sky. Cheer, we're back. Upon hearing this voice, Xueqi looked up at the sky excitedly. It's my husband. She waved her hand. Husband, we are here. A beam of light descended. Lin Xian had arrived. Are you okay? Lin Xian asked. Xueqi said, it was too dangerous. He was only 10 meters away from breaking the formation. When Lin Xian heard this, he frowned and turned to look. When he saw Xia Guangsha, his eyes lit up. You actually came out alive. Kid, it's you. Xia Guangsha coldly snorted when he saw Lin Xian. This was the target he wanted to capture. Previously, he was also ambushed by the other party and fell into the lake. Now, the 2 grudges would be avenged together. Go to hell. His large hand swept through the air and mercilessly slapped down. Husband, be careful, Xueqi shouted. However, Lin Xian said, it doesn't matter. The 9th serenity has been opened. Their strength has been greatly suppressed. As for my divine body, its strength will increase exponentially. Stupid thing. Xia Guangsha sneered. Even if my strength is suppressed, it's still 2 strands of divine energy. It's not something a puny quasi-emperor like you can resist. As his voice fell, his palm became even more terrifying. With a wave of his hand, the sky fell and the earth cracked. Lin Xian, on the other hand, activated his 9 yang divine body and unleashed the power of extreme yang. 9 suns revolved around him, and an extremely powerful flame swept out in all directions. When that large black hand approached, white smoke came out of it. It seemed like it would shatter at any moment. Damn it! Xia Guangsha screamed and withdrew his palm. He was bewildered, and his expression was as if he had seen a ghost. How did your physique become so much stronger? He was dumbfounded. His opponent's realm hadn't increased, but why was the might of this flame much stronger than before? Lin Xian laughed heartily. The 9th serenity hadn't been opened before. When I was here, Even my divine body was somewhat suppressed. But now, the power of all the realms in the universe has rushed in. I represent the power of the yang divine body. All the suns in the universe are under my control. I can restrain you. Damn it, Xia Guangsha roared. The other party's luck was too good. As a member of the Xia family, he knew the history of their family. Millions of years ago, their family's land immortal led them to kill their way out. They could also fight in all directions in the universe. They weren't afraid of the sun. It was just that they hadn't seen the sun for millions of years. Therefore, after seeing it for the first time, they were greatly suppressed. They would probably be able to adapt after some time. But now, he didn't have time. He had to catch the other party quickly. Thinking of this, he roared angrily. The 2 strands of immortal chi on his body actually burned. He still had to risk his life to suppress the other party with lightning speed. Go to hell, kid. He quickly rushed over, revealing a ferocious smile. However, just as he approached Lin Xian, a 7-colored light suddenly fell from the sky and hit his body. It directly sent him flying. He spat out a large mouthful of blood. His body was broken, and he was on the verge of death. How could this be? He was stunned. This 7-colored immortal light directly caused him to suffer heavy injuries. This power was not something he could resist at all. It even caused his soul to tremble. He couldn't help but kneel on the ground. Who was it? Who allowed you to make a move on him? A cold voice was heard from the sky. Immediately after, a white-clothed woman descended from the sky like a fairy. She had 7-colored immortal light on her body, and she had the 7 Wonders treasure tree in her hand. That golden light was shot out by her. A fairy from the outside world. Xia Guangsha raised his head and glanced at the other party. He screamed in pain, his eyes bleeding. There was nothing he could do. The other party's aura was too powerful. Just like that demonic immortal, she was a land immortal. This kid actually found a land immortal. Xia Guangsha wanted to die. This was a super iron plate. He actually kicked such an iron plate. Senior, please spare my life. I don't dare. It's just that there's also a land immortal behind me who wants this kid. Boom. As soon as he finished speaking, the moonlight flickered and a saber slashed over. Xia Guangsha was split in half. For a moment, he felt that he was about to die. But at this time, the 7-colored immortal light saved his life. He came back from the gates of hell. The 2 halves of his body fell to the ground, and he let out a miserable cry. He looked with the last bit of his soul. He saw that another woman had descended. This woman was wearing green clothes and a green mask. She was peerlessly beautiful. However, the murderous aura on her body was really too strong. Just a glance was enough to tear his soul into pieces. The scimitar in her hand bloomed with a biting cold light. It was that scimitar that split him in half. Another land immortal. Otherwise, she wouldn't have been able to split him in half so easily. He was completely scared out of his wits. Behind a quasi-emperor stood 2 land immortals. God, was the universe outside so terrifying? Now, he was extremely regretful. What kind of plan did his family have? The universe outside was too dangerous. Wasn't it good to survive in the 9 serenities? Back then, their ancestor was at the peak of his power and became a land immortal. But wasn't he still seriously injured? It was because he left the 9 serenities and came to the universe. Now, in Xia Guangsha's eyes, the universe outside was a prehistoric beast. He absolutely couldn't go there. Chapter 6090. You were too cruel. You almost killed him. The Guanghan immortal frowned. Fortunately, I saved his life. Otherwise, we wouldn't know who the immortal behind him is. The moon goddess snorted coldly. He wouldn't have died even if you hadn't done anything. I knew what I was doing. If I wanted him to live, he would live. If I wanted him to die, he would die. The 2 immortal-like figures were talking here. They didn't take Xia Guangsha seriously at all. When Xueqi saw this scene, she also felt dizzy. Previously, when she faced Xia Guangsha, she was sure that she would die. She planned to die together with him. However, in the eyes of the 2 Earth Immortals, Xia Guangsha was just a small ant that could be suppressed with a wave of their hand. The gap between them was really too big. She was also envious. When could she be like these two fairies? Cheer, come here. I'll introduce you to the two seniors. Lin Xian pulled Xueqi over and introduced them to each other. Greetings, seniors. Xueqi, Butian, and Xia Xingqian quickly saluted. Xia Xingqian even shouted, Brother Lin, where's my grandfather? Don't worry, your grandfather is fine. He's still opening the passage to the 9 serenities. When the passage is completely opened, your grandfather will be able to come back. Great. Hearing this, Xia Xingqian breathed a sigh of relief. Indeed, there were more and more big cracks in the sky. At first, it seemed to be torn apart by someone. However, in the end, endless cracks appeared on the 9 serenities. The whole sky was completely opened by someone. Endless light sprinkled down, and all kinds of auras from outside the universe poured in. The power of the 9 serenities also poured out and intertwined with each other. The cold power of the 9 serenities terrified the people of the infernal realm. The 18 layers of hell were cut in half by the moon goddess and the death god. Many people had already died. However, under the power of the 9 underworlds, those dead skeletons actually turned into living skeletons. They came back to life with another kind of life. In the 9 serenities, some experts also made breakthroughs. It couldn't be helped. They had originally cultivated this kind of yin power. At this moment, with the power of the 9 serenities, their strength immediately doubled. This made them wild with joy. Furthermore, this power not only enveloped hell, but it also swept out rapidly into the universe. In the universe, some people felt this aura and their bodies trembled. Many people felt that their souls were about to be frozen. What a terrifying aura! Who opened hell? In an instant, countless people fled one after another. The starry sky had become a completely uninhabited region. As for the people of the 9th underworld, their situation was not good either. For the first time in a million years, they saw the real sun. Thus, in an instant, smoke began to rise from the bodies of many people. Some of the weaker ones actually turned into ashes under the sun. Those who were stronger were also pierced by the sunlight, and many wounds appeared on their bodies. Countless clans felt their scalps go numb. They said, quickly tear open the earth. Let's go underground and let the earth protect us. There were even people who set up formations and gathered the power of the underworld to resist. The end of the world is coming. The people of the 9th serenity were in despair. This kind of power could restrain them. In an ancient temple, half of the white-haired martial monarch's body turned into ashes under the sunlight. He looked up and roared, Am I going to die? His eyes were filled with horror. In the boundless darkness, there was a big crack in a canyon. The darkness melted like ice and snow. The martial monarch in black armor looked even more weathered. Like a candle, he was about to melt. Was this sunlight the source of his fear? Damn it! He felt that the divine crystals he carefully prepared were about to melt into water. At this moment, the martial monarchs of the 9th underworld were also terrified. In a certain valley, Torch Dragon roared crazily. His body kept rolling, and a lot of dragon scales had fallen off. Damn it, am I going to die? No, why? I don't want to die. Xia Qinyu's face was also pale. Several wounds appeared on his body. His body was about to crack. He was also trembling. However, he gritted his teeth and said, Don't be afraid. You won't die. This is the power from the outside. The 9th underworld was opened by someone. This is the sunlight from the outside. Millions of years ago, our Xia family once went out of the 9th underworld. We can live under the sunlight. However, we are not used to it now. Let's find a place to hide first. With our strength, we can adapt in less than a month. At that time, we can come out. We can leave the 9th underworld and go to other places. Ha ha ha. He laughed proudly. Although he was surprised that the 9th underworld was about to open. However, no matter what the process was, it had opened. He could finally go outside. As for the outside world, he had only heard about it from the elders in his family when he was young. The outside world was very good. It had all kinds of power and countless mysterious laws. He had been looking forward to it for a long time. The crack in the sky was still getting bigger. Once the sky was torn open, The sunlight sprinkled down. The entire process continued until the 9th day, when it finally stopped. At this moment, the 9 Serenities land had been completely opened, connecting with the universe and the myriad of worlds outside. The power of each other was more perfect. Amidst the initial panic, the people on the continent of the 9th Nether gradually sensed that something was amiss. There seemed to be a new kind of power on their land, a power that they had never seen before. Perhaps it was a blessing in disguise. Some martial monarchs were also excited. I see the hope of going further. I can actually go out and take a look at the legendary outside world in my lifetime. The white-haired martial monarch burst into tears. The black-armored martial monarch with half of his body also roared to the sky. At this moment, everyone was excited. Although they were still hiding, they had already seen hope. In the celestial creation pool, the demonic immortal looked up at the sky. An extremely cold light burst out from his eyes. The 9 Netherland had actually opened? It's so fast. Damn it, I have to hide for a while. He turned his head to look at the celestial creation pool, extremely unhappy. The pool water didn't matter. The immortal pagoda under the celestial creation pool was incomparably precious. However, with his strength, he couldn't take it away. Once the 9th underworld opened, those people outside would come. He knew that there were many Earth immortals in the Tao universe. Who knew how many of them could wake up? If a few Earth immortals came and took the immortal pagoda away, it would be bad. First, I'll set up a formation to hide this place. The 9th underworld is so big and vast. Even Earth immortals can't see the end of it. I don't believe that they can find this place in an instant. The demonic immortal formed a seal with his palms, forming the strange lake again. Ordinary people wouldn't dare to come close. Then, his figure flashed and he left temporarily. On the other side, Lin Xian had already set off with the moon god and Guanghan immortal. They flew toward the celestial creation pool with Xia Kuangsha. This time, they were going to take the immortal pagoda. Chapter 6091. With 2 land immortals leading the way, they moved very quickly. Soon, they arrived at the creation immortal pool. There was an unusual aura here. The Guanghan immortal said. The moon goddess was also extremely surprised. She split the creation immortal pool with 1 slash. The entire pool was split into 2 halves, revealing the scene below. What was this? They saw a pagoda below. The pagoda was extremely exquisite and shone with a mysterious light. Was this the 7 treasures exquisite pagoda? The Guanghan immortal was surprised. The moon goddess also waved her hand, and a ray of moonlight grabbed downward. However, the 7 treasures exquisite pagoda shook slightly and shattered the moon goddess's attack. It's amazing that I can't catch it. Seniors, do you know the origin of this pagoda? Lin Xian asked. The moon goddess glared at him and said, Am I very old? Senior? Call me sister. Lin Xian was speechless. The Guanghan immortal shook her head. I don't know. The origin of this pagoda is very mysterious. We can't explain it clearly. Also, you call her sister, but don't call me sister. I'm older than you. I'm the same generation as your father. You can call me Auntie you. No, then I'm a generation younger than you. Don't call me sister. Just call me the moon goddess. Okay. Facing these 2 land immortals, Lin Xian also had a headache. Xia Kuangsha, who was suppressed next to him, also looked around. He was looking for the demonic immortal. Perhaps the demonic immortal could save him. However, after looking around, he sighed. There was no sign of the demonic immortal. Could it be that the other party had left? Then wouldn't he be suppressed for the rest of his life? No, he was in despair. In fact, he wasn't the only one looking for it. Lin Xian was also looking for it. He frowned and said, Damn that guy. He's not here. What are you looking for? The Guanghan immortal asked. Lin Xian said, There was a demonic immortal here before, who was trapped here by the pagoda. I saved him, yet that guy actually bit the hand that fed him and tried to attack me. It seems that he has left. The Guanghan immortal's eyes flickered, and the colorful immortal chi on her body fluttered. She said, I did feel the information of another land immortal. and it seems that he just left. Humph. The moon goddess snorted coldly. Good thing he left quickly. Otherwise, I would have sent him to the underworld. At the moment, Lin Xian and the others had no idea that there was a mirror hidden beneath the ground. This mirror was left behind by the demon immortal. Through the mirror, the immortal monster was able to see everything that was happening in the Fortune Immortal Pond. When he saw Lin Xian and the others return, he immediately gritted his teeth. That damn brat. He actually came back. However, when he saw the two land immortals, his hair stood on end. Damn it. That kid actually managed to find two Earth immortals. The situation was really not good. Fortunately, he ran fast. Otherwise, he would end up in a miserable state. After all, he could still fight one-on-one if they were at the same level. If it was 2 against 1, not to mention him, any Earth immortal would not be able to withstand it. After all, every land immortal was a figure with extraordinary means. How was he going to collect this pagoda? Lin Xian frowned. He realized that he couldn't take the moon goddess away, and neither could the moon immortal. Even the two of them couldn't do anything. It seemed that he could only let the war god take action. The moon immortal said. Lin Xian looked up at the sky. The moon immortal also transmitted his voice. Not long after, clouds filled the sky, and a figure broke through the space. The war god's gaze fell. His fiery eyes of truth saw through everything. First, he saw the 7 treasures exquisite pagoda. The war god also nodded slightly. That's right, it's this pagoda. Who would have thought that it would appear again? I'll get it for you. Thank you, Senior. Lin Xian was overjoyed. The strength of the war god was unparalleled. If he took action, there would be absolutely no mistakes. But at this time, the war god was surprised. Someone dared to observe us secretly. His fiery eyes of truth suddenly erupted, and a ray of piercing cold light shattered the ground. A mirror fell down. Who was it? The moon goddess grabbed the mirror in an instant and probed it with her soul. On the other side, the demon immortal was shocked. Heavens, what is that? Those golden eyes. Why does it feel like they can burn the world? Damn it, it's too terrifying. Who the hell is this kid? Why does he have such a terrifying master by his side? He was so scared that he hurriedly fled and shattered the other mirror in his hand. At the same time, in the creation celestial pool, the mirror in the moon goddess's hand also shattered. It split into 3 pieces and fell to the ground. The moon goddess snorted coldly. Did he escape? Damn it, Lin Xian said. It must be that demon immortal. Senior, can you find him? The war god's gaze swept across the 9 heavens and 10 lands. He shook his head slightly. The 9th underworld was too vast. If he fled into the distance, he wouldn't be found in a short time. Besides, there was no need to find him. He would take the 7 treasures exquisite pagoda first. After saying that, clouds filled the sky. This time, not only the fiery eyes of truth, but the war god's true body also descended. He sat on an auspicious cloud and slowly descended. Although the war god's true body had arrived, however, he was still sitting there cross-legged, without any movement on his body. From Lin Xian's direction, the war god's body seemed to have turned into a stone statue. Lin Xian was surprised. I wonder what kind of cultivation method he is practicing? The war god didn't move. His true body just landed beside the 7 treasures exquisite pagoda. Then he said, "Follow me." The 7 treasures exquisite pagoda actually rose into the air and followed beside the war god. Is this enough? Lin Xian was surprised. The Guanghan immortal was also amazed. As expected of the war god, his power is indeed boundless. The war god said, "Little guy, I'll take the 7 treasures exquisite pagoda with me first. In this way, no one from the Nirvana realm or the Supreme Palace can take it away. When you need it, come to me to get it." Thank you, Senior. Lin Xian was overjoyed. Indeed, if he stayed by his side, it would probably cause countless jealous masters to attack him. However, it was different if he stayed by the war god's side. Who would dare to attack the war god? Great, he found one. Next was the Heaven-Earth Dark Yellow Pagoda. He asked again, "Senior, where is the Heaven-Earth Dark Yellow Pagoda?" This is exactly what I want to say. The 9 serenities has been completely opened. Next, I will leave here and go to the heavenly land. Why do you want to go to the heavenly land? Lin Xian was puzzled. The moon goddess even said, I say, monkey, did you cultivate until you became stupid? The 9 serenities has just opened. There are countless treasures waiting for us to grab. Why do you want to go to the heavenly land? What's so good about that place? The war god shook his head slightly. Girl, you don't understand. I'm going to help them. Besides, the heaven-earth dark yellow pagoda is in the heavenly land. I've already felt a trace of its aura before. It turned out to be like this. Lin Xian was shocked. The heavenly land had the heaven-earth dark yellow pagoda. Could it be related to his father, Lord Alcohol, and the others? As if reading Lin Xian's thoughts, the war god said, Little guy, don't go. Work hard and improve yourself. You can't help in the battle in the heavenly land now. After saying that, he looked at the moon goddess and the moon goddess. Do you two want to go with me? Were they ignored? Lin Xian was speechless. He also looked at the moon goddess and the moon goddess. He was excited. If the two of them went together, they would be 3 earth immortals. No matter how difficult it was in the heavenly land, they should be able to settle it. However, 3 years later, the Permethar realm and the Paragon Palace would definitely make a comeback. He had come to understand that the god domain had more than one enemy. In addition to the Permethar, there was also the Paragon Temple. Although these two forces might not completely join hands, it would be troublesome if they really joined hands. Therefore, Lin Xian had to pull in another faction that could stand up to the Paragon Hall. It should be the legendary Yuhua immortal dynasty of the past. Therefore, Lin Xian decided to go. All right, I will go look for treasures first. When the time comes, I will leave you with the spatial coordinates. You can come and find me. Okay, Lin Xian nodded. Then, Sun Qitian also left. Lin Xian and the others left the 9 underworlds. He asked Xueqi to return to the Divine Union. He gathered the people of the Divine Union and headed to the 9 underworlds together. These 3 years were a good opportunity. Therefore, he planned to let the people of the Divine Union go in. As for him, he went to the quintessential world, middle ground, under the ground of the Yuhua immortal dynasty. Lin Xian held the longevity lamp. When he arrived, he met the Emperor's imprint again. He recounted what had happened and said, Senior, it was not easy for me to collect a piece of the Emperor's bone. In the end, it was suppressed by that demonic immortal. What demonic immortal? A mere demonic immortal dares to challenge the Yuhua immortal dynasty? He even dares to be disrespectful to the Emperor's bone. He deserves to die. The Emperor's imprint was furious. His body swayed and a terrifying aura spread out. The flame immortal. A low roar. A voice sounded in the depths of the Yuhua immortal dynasty. Then, a figure rushed over like a meteor. In the next moment, he arrived in front of the Emperor's imprint. What a terrifying flame aura. Lin Xian's hair stood on end, even though he had the 9 yang divine body. Although he had a 9 underworlds body, the light on his body was suppressed and dimmed in front of this figure. The person in front of him was a tall man. The flame aura on his body was extremely terrifying. It seemed like he had reached the level of an earth immortal. The Yuhua immortal dynasty was indeed extraordinary. Go to the 9 underworlds to kill the demonic immortal and take back the Emperor's bone. Yes, the flame immortal nodded. Then, he turned around and pressed a finger between Lin Xian's eyebrows. Lin Xian was stunned. However, in the next moment, the flame immortal retracted his hand. Lin Xian understood that the flame immortal was looking for the demonic immortal. Sure enough, after receiving the demonic immortal's information, the flame immortal's body swayed and rushed into the sky, disappearing. Then, Lin Xian also left and returned to the Divine Union. The people of the Divine Union were all ready. They were extremely excited. They could go to the 9 underworlds continent. It was said that there were endless treasures there. They were just waiting for Lin Xian to come back and set off. On this day, when Lin Xian came back, they all cheered. The Crimson Dragon and the Toad rushed over. "Kid, we're waiting for you to pull us away." Brother Xian, Morong Qingqing, Yin Ruyu, and the others also walked over. The two of them were also extremely excited. Lin Xian took their hands and said, "Let's go to the 9 underworlds." The people of the Divine Union set off. In fact, they were not the only ones. The other families and sects also wanted to go. After all, it was a new and mysterious place. They naturally had to go and explore it. However, they found that they could not enter at all. There was a sea-calming divine needle there. How could this be? Countless people were in despair. Could they not enter? The news came from the Divine Union. 3 years. You can enter after 3 years. 3 years? All right, we'll wait. The Yi family, the Gu family, and other great emperor families began to wait for 3 years. To them, it was not a long time. However, some people could not wait, such as the people of the Permitha. They gritted their teeth. Despicable. This is really despicable. This time, they had mobilized 2 Earth Immortals, but they had not succeeded. Countless people of the Permitha were terrified. Has the Divine Union become so powerful? The Grand Supreme was also furious. However, he did not make a move because this was not the crucial moment of the decisive battle. He could not leave so easily while he was cultivating. Wasn't it just 3 years? They had waited for so long. However, they would not let the Divine Union have an easy time. The Grand Supreme waved his hand, and the sky punishment sword in the sky kept spinning. Then, it condensed into 2 extremely terrifying sword shadows. He summoned the virtual immortals and Master Rashi and said to them, "Take these 2 immortal swords and head to the Azure Land. I don't need to tell you what to do, right?" "Don't worry, Grand Supreme, we understand." The 2 Earth Immortals took the sword shadows and took a deep breath. They were extremely excited. Although it was only the 2 sword shadows of the Sky Punishment Sword, their power was already extremely terrifying. That was because their Heavenly Punishment Sword was complete and undamaged. "Let's go." The virtual immortals and Master Rashi left. They headed to the Azure Land. Chapter 6093. The Heavenly Land was completely different from the 9th Underworld. The 9th Underworld was extremely cold. On the other hand, the Heavenly Land was a vast expanse of sky and earth. Shangqing City was a very ancient city in the Heavenly Land. Moreover, it was an extremely important ancient city. Half of Shangqing City had already been opened. Lin Zhan, Lord Alcohol, the Empress, and the others were all inside. These great emperors' faces were pale. This battle was not easy for them. At this moment, the number of people around Lin Zhan and the others increased again. Obviously, some of the great emperors of the heavenly court had awakened from their deep slumber. Some of them had returned from the river of time. At this moment, there were a total of 30 great emperors here. They worked together and entered Shangqing City. However, some of the palaces and pavilions in Shangqing City were still sealed. They needed to be opened before they could enter. More importantly, they found a pagoda in Shangqing City. A pagoda with a mysterious yellow aura. The demon emperor instantly exclaimed, "This is the heaven-earth mysterious yellow pagoda." Lin Zhan, Lord Alcohol, and the others were also surprised. They didn't expect this legendary pagoda to be in Shangqing City. The demon emperor took the lead and rushed over. Demonic aura filled the sky, wanting to subdue the heaven-earth mysterious yellow pagoda. However, the heaven-earth mysterious yellow pagoda shook. The mysterious yellow aura on it fell and blocked everything. The demon emperor was forced back. He snorted coldly, "You're really powerful." Lord Alcohol shook his head and said, "Don't attack. You can't take it away. If you didn't die back then and cultivate it until now, you might be able to take it away. However, you've missed too much time." The demon emperor glared at Lord Alcohol and said, "You old ghost, weren't you seriously injured and almost died? If I can't take it away, you can't take it away either." Indeed, Lord Alcohol, Lin Zhan, and the others also couldn't take the heaven-earth mysterious yellow pagoda away. The Empress said, "That's fine. Anyway, Shangqing City has already been taken down by us. Next, We have plenty of time to take the heaven-earth mysterious yellow pagoda. Yes, everyone nodded. They continued to crack the other palaces and pavilions. However, two silhouettes appeared in the Songland. Two silhouettes with extremely terrifying chi. They were Essence Immortal and Turtle Hermit. The two of them flew like lightning. The virtual immortal's eyes shot out an extremely cold light that pierced through all directions. Soon, he locked onto a position. Over there. Let's go. It should be Shangqing City. Speed up. The two of them burst out again, tearing the endless void apart. Soon, they arrived outside Shangqing City. The virtual immortal slashed out with his sword, and the dragon-slaying sword fell mercilessly. Boom! Shangqing City began to shake violently. In the city, Lin Zhan, Lord Alcohol, and the others' expressions changed. Oh no, someone is attacking Shangqing City. Who is it? They all stretched out their souls. When they saw the two figures outside, they all sucked in a breath of cold air. Two land immortals. Was Higgin crazy? Were they planning to bring forward the final battle? One must know that although Earth immortals were terrifying, they were all injured in the battle back then. Furthermore, their injuries were quite severe. Very few of them would be able to recover to their peak. Under normal circumstances, land immortals would rest and recuperate. They were either cultivating in seclusion or hiding somewhere. He didn't expect that Earth immortals would appear, and there were two of them. Let's go and take a look. Lin Zhan waved his hand and led everyone forward. Even if they were Earth immortals, they weren't afraid. Soon, they arrived at the city wall. Looking at the two figures outside, he said coldly, "Go back. We have already opened Shangqing City." A bunch of ants without a single Earth immortal. How dare they be impudent in front of me? Essence Immortal snorted coldly. Turtle Hermit sneered. He stretched out his big claws, covering the sky and earth as he flew through the air. This palm was extremely terrifying. In an instant, it arrived above everyone's heads. Everyone felt their hair stand on end. No matter how strong they were still a little weak when facing an Earth immortal. But so what? Lin Zhan roared. He waved his hand, and a flag appeared in his hand. The green flag danced, and some light appeared in Shangqing City, forming a shield to block the attack. With a clang, the shield blocked the other party's big claws. The endless void shattered. Lin Zhan shouted coldly, "I can mobilize the power of Shangqing City. So what if you are an Earth immortal?" This was the source of Lin Zhan's confidence. Once an ancient city in the heavenly land was open, they would take the lead and control this ancient city. It was equivalent to a solid fortress. Even an Earth immortal would not be able to take it down easily. This was also the reason why they had to act quickly. There were not many ancient cities like this. Moreover, not only in the heavenly land, but also in the netherworld. Therefore, after 3 years, Bayan and the people of the Supreme Palace would probably go crazy. Because in these 3 years, they did not know how many cities they could conquer. Damn it! Turtle Hermit gritted his teeth. The Essence Immortal said, "Shangqing City is not like other ancient cities. From the power just now, you only opened the city gate. You did not completely occupy this ancient city. So, we still have a chance. Let's attack together." After the Essence Immortal finished speaking, the two of them instantly attacked. The dragon-slaying sword fell from the sky. On the other side, Turtle Hermit rushed over quickly. He used his huge turtle shell to hit the city gate, causing it to shake violently. Countless laws of light swept out. The expressions of the people in the city changed drastically. Damn it! Everyone, activate the devouring sword. A black vortex appeared in Lord Alcohol's eyes. A black longsword appeared in front of him. It was pitch black as if it could devour everything. The terrifying devouring aura caused the surrounding clouds to change. Everyone nodded and injected their power into the devouring sword. Then, Lord Alcohol controlled the devouring sword and slashed down. Boom! Turtle Hermit was sent flying and continued to roll. The Essence Immortal also stopped. An extremely strange light burst out from his eyes. Devouring sword. That's right. Lord Alcohol said, "Devouring sword, one of the 5 swords in the world." What's your relationship with the Empress? The essence immortal asked coldly. The Empress was the sky-devouring great emperor, the creator of the sky-devouring jar. She was a great emperor with earth-shattering strength. Lord Alcohol said coldly, "The Empress is my senior sister." "I see. You are the liquor sword immortal. Although you have the devouring sword. So what? It's not complete. A portion of it is in the Empress' hands. It's not complete, but it's enough to deal with you." An extremely cold light burst out from Lord Alcohol's eyes. His entire body seemed to have turned into a black hole. The devouring sword in his hand was even more terrifying. With a slash of the sword, even the sky was swallowed. It was pitch black, and one couldn't even see their own fingers. Boom, boom. However, in this pitch-black darkness, two thunderous sounds rang out. Two bolts of lightning cut through the darkness. They tore two large cracks in the darkness. Light reappeared. Then, the Essence Immortal and Turtle Hermit walked out. Lightning surrounded their bodies as they sneered. "This is?" The Liquor Sword Immortal's expression changed. The Demon Emperor also exclaimed, "The power of heavenly punishment." "That's right. This time, Lord Grand Supreme specially gave us the power of the heavenly punishment sword. So, you are dead meat." Chapter 6094. Looking at the two sword shadows in the other party's hands, Lin Zhan and Lord Alcohol's expressions turned ugly. The situation was not good. Lin Zhan took a deep breath and said, "Everyone, get ready. I'm afraid there will be a bitter battle." Everyone nodded. They had all experienced great battles and were not afraid of death. Kill. After taking out the power of the heavenly punishment sword, the virtual immortal and Master Rashi also roared and used their full strength. They rushed over and instantly tore apart the light shield that Lin Zhan had set up. They came to the city wall. Then, the dragon-slaying sword slashed out. "Attack!" Lin Zhan roared and punched. Boom, boom, boom. His fist was extremely terrifying. However, he only had 2 divine fires, and the other party was a true land immortal. Although his fist burst forth with boundless power, it was still split apart. Lin Zhan retreated. On the other side, Master Rashi also attacked. With a sweep of his claws, half of the Empress's body split open. However, the Empress's strength was also very strong. Moreover, she had a human body and a snake tail. Countless snake spirits grew out of her broken body. Lord Alcohol hurriedly waved the devouring sword and swallowed the power of the land immortal. However, there were 2 people on the other side. When Master Rashi was blocked, the virtual immortal moved again. His sword pierced towards the Demon Emperor. This was a fatal blow. The sword pierced through the Demon Emperor. "No!" Everyone cried out in surprise. Demon blood dripped from the sky, forming countless black holes. "Go to hell, Ant." The virtual immortal's expression was cold. However, the Demon Emperor raised his head. He smiled. The virtual immortal snorted. "Idiot, you're about to die, and you're still smiling?" The dragon-slaying sword in his hand became even more terrifying. "Destroyed for me." The Demon Emperor's body and mind split open. But in the next moment, the virtual immortal's expression changed. He didn't tear the Demon Emperor apart, but the other party did it on his own accord. An earth-shattering power erupted and swept out in all directions. "Did this guy destroy himself?" Lai Tian Emperor exclaimed. The others were all stunned. They had just attacked, and one of their people died? The virtual immortal walked back from the cracks in the sky. He didn't look too good. There was a lot of demon blood entangling his body, wanting to enter his body. "Get lost." 3 streaks of immortal chi erupted from his body and began to erase the devil blood. "That damn thing actually dared to put me in such a difficult position. Unforgivable. Not only will he die, all of you will die." The killing intent in the virtual immortal's eyes grew even more intense. However, at this moment, a sigh came from between heaven and earth. "Is it useless?" As expected of a land immortal, the power of self-destruction was actually unable to cause you much harm. Hearing this voice, everyone was stunned. Was this the voice of the demon emperor? That's not right. Isn't that guy dead? How could he still be alive? The virtual immortal's face darkened. Stop playing tricks. Get out here. The dragon-slaying sword exploded forth, tearing apart heaven and earth. However, in the sky, the boundless demonic chi once again condensed and transformed into the figure of the demon emperor. No way, he was really still alive. The sky-rending martial monarch and the others were dumbfounded. This guy's moves were too terrifying. How is this possible? The virtual immortal didn't quite believe it either. The demon monarch stood in the 9 heavens and said in a clear voice, "I am a demon, immortal and indestructible. Immortal and indestructible. Demon." The great emperors on the side of the divine realm were all shocked. This demon emperor was really too strange. The other party wasn't from the divine realm. He was just working together with them. However, the other party's absolute divine ability was truly terrifying. The virtual immortal snorted coldly. What a joke. It's easy to live forever, but difficult to not die. Who can be immortal and indestructible? You? Stupid thing. After saying that, he rushed out again. The dragon-slaying sword transformed into countless killing intent that danced in all directions. This sword energy was too terrifying. Heaven and earth collapsed, and the endless sky was trembling. Not long after, the dragon-slaying sword slashed open MOD again. However, the demon emperor still used the same method, self-destruction. With a boom, a terrifying aura hit the dragon-slaying sword. The dragon-slaying sword shook violently. The virtual immortal's face darkened. He was hit by this power again. Although this power was destructive, it didn't cause much harm to a land immortal like him. However, he was still in a sorry state. Because after this attack, many black demonic patterns appeared on his body again, trying to drill into his body. He could only activate his immortal energy to destroy them again. I won't die. I won't die. The demon emperor's voice sounded again. The demonic elements in all directions gathered and reformed his true body. How is this possible? The Iron Blood Great Emperor was also dumbfounded. What kind of divine ability did this guy cultivate? I don't believe that he won't die if I use the power of the heavenly punishment sword to kill him. Master Rashi gritted his teeth. Indeed, he had been using the power of the dragon-slaying sword. There was no other way. The power of the heavenly punishment sword was precious, and they didn't want to waste it too much. It was just killing a great emperor. Was there a need to use the power of the heavenly punishment sword? This power was used to break through Shangqing City. However, the other party was so strange. It seemed that they could only use the heavenly punishment sword. The heavenly punishment sword in Master Rashi's hand slashed out, but it was blocked by the reincarnation sword. A boundless black hole appeared. I won't let you use this power. Lord Alcohol's voice was cold. Damn it. Master Rashi gritted his teeth. However, at this moment, the virtual immortal moved again. He also had a heavenly punishment sword in his hand. Go to hell. This time, he didn't use the dragon-slaying sword. Instead, he directly used the heavenly punishment sword. A dazzling light emitted tens of thousands of thunderbolts. The power of destruction shattered the universe. Not good. Retreat quickly. In the surroundings, the Iron Blood Great Emperor and the others spat out large mouthfuls of blood as they frantically retreated. This was the power of the 5 swords in the world. When used by an Earth immortal, it could really destroy everything. Even the demon emperor furrowed his brows. Although he was known to be immortal and indestructible, he didn't dare to take the power of the heavenly punishment head-on. Thus, he also began to sway in an attempt to dodge the attack. It's useless. Are you afraid? Ha 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 ha. The heavenly punishment sword slashed down mercilessly. However, at this moment, Lin Zhan made his move. He had a large green flag in his hand. It carried the power of Shangqing City and blocked the heavenly punishment sword. Lin Zhan shouted coldly, "Do you think I don't exist?" Heaven battling divine body. Erupt. The divine fire on his body pulsed. His physique was extremely powerful. At this moment, he was like a peerless god of war. He held the flag with both hands and waved it crazily. The power of Shangqing City formed a vortex to resist the power of the heavenly punishment. There was an intense collision and a terrifying explosion. Shangqing City was indeed an ancient and mysterious city in the celestial heavens. Although it was only a portion of its power, it still blocked the heavenly punishment sword. Stupid, let's see how long you can wait. The virtual immortal shouted angrily. Killing intent appeared in his eyes. The heavenly punishment sword in his hand fell mercilessly. The second strike, the third strike. Lin Zhan's blood boiled. He gritted his teeth and held on. However, cracks still appeared on his arm. There was no other way. The difference in strength between the two sides was too great. It was already heaven-defying for him to be able to mobilize the power of Shangqing City to block the attack. After another strike, he vomited large mouthfuls of blood. You can't hold on anymore, right? The virtual immortal laughed sinisterly. Chapter 6095. The virtual immortal's cold voice sounded, making one's scalp tingle. However, Lin Zhan was not afraid of an earth immortal. His eyes were filled with battle intent. He roared at the sky, "With my battle blood, I will dye the world red." The battle blood dripping from his body turned into countless blood-colored fists that rushed forward crazily. Boom, boom. These fists all landed on the virtual immortal. The virtual immortal's robe fluttered, blocking these fists. "It's useless, little ant." Lin Zhan's battle blood boiled, and he roared again. As he controlled the large cyan flag, he also unleashed his exceptional divine ability. This time, blood-red flames appeared on those blood-red fists and continued to burn. The power of each fist increased exponentially. "With my battle blood, I will dye the world red." Boom, boom. This time, the virtual immortal was stunned. He realized that the robe on his body seemed to have dimmed. This guy could actually use his strength to such an extent. It was too unbelievable. One had to know that he was an earth immortal. In his eyes, unless someone of the same level as him was an earth immortal. Otherwise, anyone below the level of an earth immortal was like an ant that he could easily kill. Even if you've borrowed external power, so what? You were still no match for him. However, the battle intent of the man in front of him was too strong. It was a will that would rather die than submit. It could actually shake his body. Suddenly, the virtual immortal was stunned. An image appeared in his mind. That image was the battle back then. It was incomparably tragic. There was the arch who punched in all directions. His battle intent was surging. He actually challenged an earth immortal alone. The result of that battle was obvious. The great emperor fell, killed by a single slash of a blade. I remember now. You were that the arch back then. You are called the battle the arch. You were killed by the saber immortal, right? I didn't expect you to survive and come back to life. However, so what? You will die soon. If the saber immortal could kill you back then, I, the virtual immortal, can too. The virtual immortal roared. He was going to use his strength. Immortal chi erupted from his body, and a powerful force swept through everything. Lin Zhan was forced back, and he spat out even more blood. However, he roared, "I want to fight an immortal." At this moment, he did not care about his life and death and executed his peerless divine ability. It was useless. The virtual immortal said in disdain, "The gap between us is too big." However, at this moment, a black world appeared above his head and enveloped him. At the same time, the demon emperor's voice sounded, "Divine ability, descent of the demonic earth." The devil emperor had actually charged over as well. He said coldly, "I can also fight immortals." "Die, you ant." The virtual immortal was completely enraged. He felt challenged. Normally, when he was on the other side, the great emperors would kneel and kowtow to him. Now, he actually dared to make a move against him. Unforgivable. Immortal chi erupted from his body, and the might of the dragon slaying sword condensed. One sword slaying a dragon, one sword slaying a god, one sword slaying the world. A terrifying power filled the air. Demon land, 10,000 mountains. The devil emperor roared, and countless overlapping black mountains appeared in his devil earth. "Let's go to." Behind him, the great land of iron and blood, the sky-rending martial monarch, and the others followed suit. So what if the gap was huge? So what if the other party is a land immortal? They were not afraid of anything. As such, the martial monarchs immediately charged forward and attacked wildly. On the other side, Master Rashi was also locked in a fierce battle. He had gone crazy. He couldn't believe that he couldn't kill a bunch of ants. The heavenly punishment sword was blocked by the devouring sword. Originally, he didn't care. After all, he was a land immortal. However, the person who used the devouring sword was also terrifying. He shouldn't be an ordinary great emperor. Lord Alcohol smiled. I have a name called the Wine Sword Immortal. Feel my sword technique. After saying that, he slapped his storage ring, and a huge red gourd appeared. After he opened it, countless wine gushed out. Lord Alcohol drank in large mouthfuls. Then, he threw his head back and laughed. Riding the wind on his sword, he traveled freely between heaven and earth. As Lord Alcohol's voice fell, the surrounding void changed. Countless sword energies inexplicably rushed out. It was unknown where they came from, but their target was Master Rashi. The terrifying sword energies were so high that they were like abyssal beasts that wanted to devour Master Rashi. Scram! Master Rashi roared. His claws danced, tearing all the black sword energies apart. Then, he roared, Turtle Immortal Fist. He punched out. This was a peerless immortal technique with boundless power. It directly charged towards Lord Alcohol. Lord Alcohol's figure fluttered. He quickly retreated and dodged. At the same time, he slashed out with his sword. A sword that could split mountains and rivers and swallow the sun and moon. The Wine Sword Immortal's sword energies danced. This was his famous technique, the sword manipulation art. Once, a sword could destroy the world and swallow the sky. Its terrifying power was unimaginable. The black sword energy danced in the air, and they actually enveloped Master Rashi's fist. It seemed to want to swallow it. Not only that, but Master Rashi's other arm and legs were also wrapped by the black sword energies. Master Rashi roared, You want to swallow me? Scram! His body trembled, and a tyrannical power flew out, tearing the black sword energies apart. However, the sword manipulation art was endless. Endless sword energies flew out from Lord Alcohol's body. At this moment, the Empress also came. She took out her jade rui. The jade rui was beautifully carved, and there were mysterious patterns of the great Tao on it. The Empress held the jade rui in her left hand and formed a seal with her right hand. She said coldly, Rui, follow my heart. The patterns of the great Tao on the jade rui suddenly bloomed. A mysterious aura flew out and surged forward. This aura was too strange. It actually made Master Rashi's hair stand on end. What is this? Could it be a piece of jade that fell out of the immeasurable land? This is the immeasurable jade. You actually have this thing, and you even forged it into a weapon. Master Rashi was going crazy. What kind of people are they? Although they are only great emperors and are inferior to us, why are the treasures in their hands so heaven-defying? Even Earth immortals might not have such immeasurable jade. Crazy. At this moment, Master Rashi was really going crazy. The divine realm was really difficult to deal with. No wonder he couldn't destroy it no matter how hard he tried. Boom, boom, boom. The power of the jade rui hit Master Rashi, causing his body to stiffen. He originally wanted to shrink his body into the turtle shell, but now, his movements became so slow. The combination of the jade rui and the devouring sword made Master Rashi roar angrily. You have angered me. Immortal technique, earthquake. His huge body leaped high into the air before landing heavily on the ground. With a boom, the entire void was instantly torn apart by him, forming a black hole. Not only that, a mysterious shock wave condensed and formed on his body, sweeping toward the surroundings. Not good, retreat quickly. Wine Sword Immortal exclaimed when he saw this scene. He struck out the devouring sword technique and cut off the surroundings. The black vortex began to devour the power of the earthquake. However, many vortexes were directly shattered. Haha, it's useless. Wine Sword Immortal. I see that your realm has dropped a lot. What do you have to fight me? Master Rashi laughed heartily. Relying on his earth-shaking power, he rushed over. He would kill Winesword Immortal first, and then the Jade Rui. Chapter 6096. Master Rashi executed an immortal technique, causing the earth to shake and the mountains to shake. Its power was extremely terrifying as it charged towards the Winesword Immortal. At this critical moment, the sky suddenly split open. Countless golden lights scattered from the clouds as if a golden body had appeared. This sudden change in the world shocked everyone. Master Rashi's expression changed. Not good. It's that damn monkey's aura. Sure enough, two flames fell from the sky. These were the fiery eyes of truth, and they charged towards Master Rashi. Although the two flames were small, they formed a monstrous fire as soon as they landed, sweeping in all directions. Master Rashi's figure flashed as he hid in his turtle shell, rolling in the sea of fire. He retreated to the side, gritted his teeth, and said, "Damn monkey, you've gone too far. You're haunting me, aren't you? Great, you're finally here." When Lord Alcohol saw this scene, he also laughed. On the other side, the virtual immortal's expression changed drastically. It's this fighting god again. He wanted to help, but Master Rashi said, "Don't bother. Do you really think that I'm easy to bully? I want to see if he still has the ability from back then." Master Rashi was also furious. Last time in the Netherworld, he was scared away by the other party. Now that he met the fighting god again in the heavens, he wouldn't run away again. He wanted to fight him. Immortal technique, blue tide birth. Beside Master Rashi, an endless sea suddenly appeared and swept towards the sky. It wanted to extinguish the flames. Lin Zhan was shocked. He seemed to have seen this technique before, but its power couldn't be compared to this. Could it be that this was a technique created by Master Rashi? It's too terrifying. He felt that if the great emperor was enveloped by this sea, he would be instantly extinguished. Facing such a terrifying blue tide birth, the fighting god didn't use flames. He said coldly, "Heaven and earth, heed my command. Call the wind and summon the rain." As soon as his voice fell, a violent storm raged between heaven and earth. Terrifying rain fell from the sky as if it could penetrate everything. The battle between the immortal technique and the divine ability was extremely terrifying. The call the wind and summon the rain blocked the blue tide birth. This wasn't the end. The fighting god's body landed. At the same time, he shouted coldly again, "Celestial body." His body continued to grow in size until he stood tall as if he had turned into a deity. A terrifying power swept across the sky. The blue sea tide was suppressed by this law phenomenon, and Master Rashi was also suppressed. He looked up at the sky and roared, "Block it for me." His physique also changed. The turtle shell on his body shone with a mysterious light. It had the strongest defense. He hid inside the turtle shell. He used all his strength to resist the lawful embodiment of heaven and earth. The collision between the two was earth-shattering. The surrounding martial monarchs were forced to retreat. In the face of this attack, they were all trembling in fear. If such a lawful embodiment of heaven and earth were to fall, it was likely that no one would be able to escape. On the other side, the virtual immortal stopped attacking. Instead, he stared straight ahead. I wonder if Master Rashi can withstand it? Just as he was thinking about this, a scream suddenly came from the turtle shell. Then, he spat out a mouthful of blood, and the huge tortoise shell dimmed. "Save me!" Master Rashi screamed. The virtual immortal's expression changed as he slashed his saber at the lawful embodiment of heaven and earth. The two of them worked together and Master Rashi managed to escape. After coming out, Master Rashi's face was pale and extremely miserable. His eyes were once again filled with fear. Damn it! This damn monkey's cultivation has deepened again. Don't be afraid. We still have the sword shadow of the heavenly punishment sword. The virtual immortal said. That's right. Master Rashi also snorted coldly. In the next moment, the two of them displayed two sword shadows that carried boundless lightning. Damn monkey, Do you dare to resist the power of the heavenly punishment sword? It's just the sword shadow of the heavenly punishment sword. It's not the real heavenly punishment sword. Why wouldn't I dare? The fighting god put away the lawful embodiment of heaven and earth. He floated in the void, and a primordial power suddenly erupted from his body. The grand-grade heavenly god technique. When this voice was heard, the entire sky continent started to shake violently. Even Shangqing City was shaking slightly. The surrounding martial monarchs felt their hair stand on end. Even the expressions of Master Rashi and the virtual immortal changed. Damn it! This guy actually cultivated a divine technique. Impossible. The grand-grade heavenly god technique was an extremely terrifying technique in the legends. It was terrifying to the extreme. Once mastered, it would be earth-shattering. However, no one had mastered it. Firstly, it was too difficult, so difficult that it was unimaginable. In the past million years, there had only been a handful of people with cultivation talent. Secondly, after mastering it, one would also be struck by lightning. It was very difficult to survive. Therefore, this kind of thing only appeared in legends. How could anyone master it? Unexpectedly, the fighting god could actually use the grand-grade heavenly god technique. It's fake. It must be fake. Master Rashi roared. The virtual immortal also shouted angrily. Who cares if it's real or fake? Even if it's a divine technique, it will be destroyed by the heavenly punishment sword. The entire heavenly land is controlled by our Supreme Lord. After saying that, the sword shadows in their hands flew out and condensed into two dark clouds in the sky. The power of the heavenly punishment sword continued to spread. Everyone around felt their hair stand on end. This power was really too terrifying. The power to destroy the world. Lord Alcohol also said, "I'll block it with the devouring sword." After saying that, black sword energy bloomed between heaven and earth, spreading out like thick ink. However, the fighting god said, "No need. It's just a sword shadow. I can deal with it." After saying that, an extremely terrifying light erupted from his eyes. Then, he finally stretched out a palm. One had to know that the fighting god had been sitting cross-legged from the beginning until now. The other party seemed to be cultivating, so he only used the fiery golden eyes. The other party's palms and limbs had never moved at all. But now, facing the heavenly punishment sword shadow, he finally stretched out his palm. His palm didn't have any light, and it was like a stone statue. There were still some moss and small cracks in the stone, but it was such a palm that made the earth immortals tremble in fear. Grand-grade heavenly god technique, palm facing the sky. The stone palm slapped towards the sky. Compared to the thunder, it seemed so small. But the power above was not weak at all. In fact, it was even stronger. Palm facing the sky. Was this the true strength of the fighting god? The Iron Blood Great Emperor exclaimed. The Demon Emperor's expression was also extremely solemn. Even he was envious of this kind of strength. The Empress also said, "He's too powerful. I feel that he has completely surpassed the virtual immortal and Master Rashi." At this moment, all the great emperors were shocked. This palm seemed to have enveloped the entire sky. The entire heavenly land was surging like a storm. Outside the heavenly land, the deity land, the universe, and the people of other families and sects seemed to have sensed it. They were so scared that their faces turned pale. What happened? Why were they so uneasy? Someone was using a peerless divine ability. Some great emperors were even trembling in fear. They looked into the distance. What kind of peerless powerhouse was this? He was so strong that they couldn't imagine it. In the heavenly land, a palm facing the sky collided with the heavenly punishment that filled the sky. The power of the heavenly punishment erupted, destroying heaven and earth. This was the law of heaven and earth. The heavenly punishment sword belonged to the heavenly god of nirvana. The other party was known as the controller of heaven and earth. Everything had to be operated under his will. But now, the fighting god was about to break the heavenly punishment. Chapter 6097. Under everyone's attention, the two collided. Earth-shattering destructive power erupted. He actually blocked it? The virtual immortal was dumbfounded. Master Rashi also couldn't believe it. He blocked the power of 2 heavenly punishments with one palm facing the sky. It was too unbelievable. Had the other party's divine art reached such a level? The stone-like hand blotted out the sky and blocked all the lightning in the sky. The fighting god's gaze fell, and his fiery golden eyes bloomed. He stared at Master Rashi and the virtual immortal. The two of them felt their hair stand on end. Master Rashi gritted his teeth and asked, "Damn it, what realm have you reached? You don't need to know. You just need to know that you shouldn't have come here." The fighting god stretched out his other hand. It turned into a fist and fiercely blasted over with the power of the divine art. Not good. The virtual immortal hurriedly dodged. Master Rashi also roared angrily and hid in his turtle shell. With a boom, the sky collapsed and the earth cracked. His turtle shell became dim. A crack actually appeared on it, scaring him so much that he quickly screamed and fled. The virtual immortal gritted his teeth. He couldn't let them feel so good. Although they wanted to leave, they had to let the other party feel despair. Thinking of this, he snorted coldly and waved his hand. A sword shadow in the sky instantly split open. The destructive power completely erupted and enveloped Upper Azure City. After that, the second heavenly punishment sword shadow also split open. Not good. The expressions of Lin Zhan, Demon Emperor, and the others changed drastically. This power was definitely enough to threaten their lives. The fighting god's face darkened. He raised his palm and slapped at the virtual immortal. The virtual immortal was hit and spat out blood. Cracks appeared on his body. Damn it! The two land immortals quickly fled. When Lord Alcohol saw this scene, he hurriedly used the devouring sword. A pitch-black long sword appeared, forming a monstrous vortex that enveloped heaven and earth. It was the power to resist the heavenly punishment. At the same time, he said, "Everyone, give me your power." Everyone injected their power into the devouring sword. The devouring sword kept rolling. Even the fighting god injected his power into it. Only then did he swallow all the lightning. Looking at the slowly disappearing vortex in the sky, everyone heaved a sigh of relief. Their expressions weren't very good. If the fighting god didn't come this time, they would really be in danger. Looks like I have to break through and become an Earth Immortal. The Fiend Emperor's face was solemn. Lin Zhan's eyes were also shining. Both of them were super great emperors and had hopes of breaking through to become Earth Immortals. Lord Alcohol also said, "I have to return to my peak." When he was at his peak, he was an Earth Immortal. However, the great battle back then caused him to be severely injured. He had yet to fully recover. After we're done here, let's go to the 9 underworlds. The 9 Netherland was opened, and there were many treasures inside. After discussing for a while, everyone nodded in agreement. But before that, they had to completely conquer Shangqing City. At the same time, he had to take the heaven and earth mysterious yellow pagoda. This time, the war god personally took action. He said, "Let me do it." Lin Xian had already found the 7 treasures exquisite pagoda and the mysterious yellow pagoda. With Taiji as his foundation, he would soon attain his Tao. Really? Lin Zhan was elated. However, Lord Alcohol frowned. Was he really going to take the path of immortality? It was too dangerous. This kid is even more ruthless than me. The Demon Emperor also coldly snorted. Even he didn't dare to take the path of immortality. The war god said, "Although it's extremely dangerous, it's still worth a try." If he could really be the first to attain his Tao in the universe, he could go to the land of destiny. Perhaps he could really defy the heavens and change his fate. Everyone fell silent. Although that was the case, they were very clear about the dangers involved. Even a guy like the Demon Emperor didn't dare to try. One could imagine how dangerous it was. The Wine Sword Immortal said, "There has to be another Earth Immortal. Whether it's my recovery or someone else's breakthrough, we have to hurry. When the time comes, we can protect Lin Xian." That's right. Lin Zhan nodded. The Heavenly King would definitely not allow Xian to succeed. At that time, they would probably attack crazily. Everyone felt a heavy pressure weighing down on them. Next, the war god personally took action. He took the heaven-earth mysterious yellow pagoda. The mysterious yellow chi danced in the air. However, the war god was extremely powerful. He was an extremely terrifying existence among the earth immortals. Not long after, the heaven-earth mysterious yellow pagoda spun in the air, shrank, and flew into his palm. Great! He succeeded. The wine-sword immortal, the empress, and the others were overjoyed. However, during this process, something unexpected happened. Two rays of light flew out from the heaven-earth mysterious yellow pagoda and flew into the distance. One of the rays of light was a palace. In the palace, there was a huge phantom. It spread its wings and flew into the sky. In an instant, it tore through the void and flew into the distance. What was that? Many people were stunned. They wanted to make a move, but that light was too fast. The war god glanced at it and said, "It's actually the Heavenly Phoenix clan. They are actually in the heaven-earth mysterious yellow pagoda. Could it be that they were trapped inside back then?" The demon emperor looked to the other side and said, "The other one is the earth leviathan, right?" He ran so fast. "Forget it. I don't have time to care about them." They continued to attack. Next, these people continued to attack. The battle in the heavenly land came to an end. Master Rashi and the virtual immortal returned with injuries. This shocked the people of the heavenly king. Had the divine realm become so terrifying? Even the Grand Supreme frowned. However, when Master Rashi and the virtual immortal explained the matter, the Grand Supreme frowned. Did they pick that monkey from back then? Sure enough, he has some ability. He actually cultivated the divine technique. But from what you said, he shouldn't have fully cultivated it. Otherwise, he wouldn't be like a statue. Forget it. You two go and rest. There are still 3 years before you can go to the netherworld. During this period, I will give you a chance to go to the treasure land. What you can get there will depend on your luck. Thank you, Grand Supreme. The virtual immortal and the virtual immortal were extremely excited. Although they didn't complete the mission, it wasn't that they were too weak, but that the enemy was too strong. Especially the appearance of the war god, they didn't expect it. Moreover, now was the time to use people. The Grand Supreme would let them make up for their mistakes. The place where the Heavenly King was located was the Eternal Land. It was also one of the Jyotian Shidi. Therefore, it was also extremely mysterious. There were some places that even they weren't qualified to enter. For example, this treasure land was a mysterious place in the Eternal Land. It was a place where treasures were hidden. Not many people went in, but it was said that there were countless treasures inside. The Saber Immortal had gone in before. It was said that he had obtained the celestial technique, so he was extremely powerful. This time, if the two of them went in, they might be able to obtain the celestial technique. How could they not be excited? The two of them thanked the Grand Supreme repeatedly. They swore that they would definitely not fail the next mission. On the other side, Lin Xian and the others also set off for the netherworld. At the same time, there was another figure with them. It was the Flame Immortal. The Flame Immortal was also going this time. He was going to kill the Demon Immortal. Moreover, he wasn't from the divine realm. Therefore, he could only enter the netherworld with the help of Lin Xian and the others. Chapter 6098. The 9 underworlds emitted a cold aura. There were countless people around, but they couldn't enter. However, on this day, countless rays of light flashed past. They were countless chariots and spirit boats. They came rolling in. The surrounding people were shocked when they saw this scene. What a terrifying aura. Which family or sect did they belong to? An old man snorted. It didn't matter which family or sect they were from. They could only look at this place and couldn't enter. Yes, it was said that the great emperor families were blocked and the powerhouses from the deity ground couldn't enter. As they were discussing, these spirit boats and chariots pierced through the 9 heavens and entered the 9 underworlds. Those old men's eyes almost popped out. Countless people were shocked. Heavens, they went in? Damn it. Why? Could it be that the seal was broken? Let's rush in too. These people rushed over quickly, but the power of the ocean's steadying divine needle knocked them back. Many people vomited blood. Why? Why could they enter? Look at the flag on the chariot. They are from the Divine Union. Divine Union. Lin Wudi. No wonder he could enter. Which one is Lin Wudi? He is my idol. Countless people exclaimed. Lin Wudi's name was like the sun in the sky, spreading throughout the 9 heavens. Many people were even saying that he was about to become a great emperor. These chariots belonged to the Divine Union. After entering, the Crimson Dragon and the others looked around. What a terrifying cold aura. But I like it. Black Mountain, North Demon, and the others were also happy. Lin Xian said to these people, split into several teams. Each team must be accompanied by a great emperor. The 9 underworlds wasn't simple. It was much more terrifying than the universe outside. Lin Xian knew that there were even Earth immortals here. So even if they entered, they couldn't be careless. Fortunately, some great emperors in the heavenly court had recovered. With the great emperors accompanying them, it was fine as long as they didn't go to particularly dangerous places. Anyway, these people could improve their strength here. Kid, what about you? Toad asked. Lin Xian said, I have to deal with a guy. I'll meet up with you guys then. After speaking, he looked at the flame immortal. Senior, I have a plan. He began to transmit his voice. After that, Lin Xian left alone and flew towards the creation immortal pond again. There was no one left in this place. The celestial pond had been split in half. The immortal pagoda inside was also taken out. When Lin Xian came back again, he created some commotion in order to lure the demon immortals over. You don't say, the demon immortal really did come. Last time, when the demonic immortals saw a few land immortals, they were so scared that they ran away. But after a while, he decided to come back and take a look. When he returned, he found that the immortal pagoda was gone. This made him almost vomit blood from anger. The fortune immortal pond was also destroyed. Damn it, that pagoda was so mystical. It was an immortal item. That damned brat. He gritted his teeth at the thought of Lin Xian. But today, he actually saw Lin Xian again. It was this brat. He actually dared to come back. However, the demonic immortal didn't attack immediately. After all, there were a few earth immortals around this kid last time. After secretly observing for a while, he found that Lin Xian came alone this time. The demonic immortal laughed sinisterly and rushed out. A huge aura enveloped heaven and earth. This was the power of a land immortal. It was enough to make anyone tremble. Lin Xian's body stiffened. He took out the great dragon sword soul to block. He also held the heaven-swallowing jar in his hand, as if he was facing a great enemy. It's you. Lin Xian pretended to be surprised. You're still here. The demonic immortal snorted. Brat, you didn't expect it, right? The most dangerous place is the safest place. You actually dared to bring other land immortals and take away the immortal artifact. Let's see how I'll kill you today. The demonic immortal snorted and released an extremely terrifying killing intent. The surrounding sky collapsed and the earth cracked. Lin Xian said as he retreated. Last time, I took away the immortal pagoda. This time, I came to find the Emperor Bone. Did you bring it with you? You mean that bone? That's right, I did bring it with me. What can you do to me? A mere quasi-emperor like you dares to behave atrociously in front of me? I see that you have a lot of treasures on you. I'll capture you and torture you first to relieve the hatred in my heart. After saying that, his palm instantly stretched out. In his opinion, no matter how powerful Lin Xian was, he was just an ant in front of him. He couldn't withstand a single blow at all. Sure enough, with this palm strike, countless voids turned into black holes. It was extremely terrifying. Lin Xian didn't retreat. Instead, he sneered. This guy is an idiot. Just wait for death. At this moment, a flame flew out from the 9 heavens and ruthlessly struck the palm. An earth-shattering sound rang out as the demonic immortal's palm directly split open. Countless demonic blood danced in the air. Lin Xian quickly dodged with the heaven-swallowing jar on his head. This demonic blood could easily pierce through a great emperor. The demonic immortal screamed. Who dares to sneak attack me? Could it be that this kid called for reinforcements? Hiding in the dark? He turned around and fled as if he was facing a great enemy. At this moment, flames that filled the sky descended from the sky. A figure stood in the boundless sea of flames. This figure was like a fire god. His might was unstoppable. I am the flame immortal of the Yuhua immortal dynasty. You actually dared to suppress the bone of the emperor. Your crime is unforgivable. You deserve death. A cold voice sounded, causing one's soul to tremble. The demonic immortal was dumbfounded. Could it be that the people of the Yuhua immortal dynasty were here for that bone? His expression became ugly. Damn it, it's this kid. This kid deliberately tricked him just now. He made him say the whereabouts of the bone. Lin Xian smiled. That's right, this was a senior of the Yuhua immortal dynasty. Didn't you look down on the Yuhua immortal dynasty? How dare you suppress the bone of the emperor? Just wait for death. With that said, he retreated to the side to watch the show. The demonic immortal's expression was ugly, but he quickly said, "Fellow Taoist, this is a misunderstanding. I can return the emperor bone to you." With that said, he waved his hand and endless demonic energy condensed into a cage. There was a bone inside. With a push of his hand, he directly returned the bone to the flame immortal. Lin Xian was stunned after seeing this. This was possible? This was too cowardly. The flame immortal waved his hand and split open the cage. He held the emperor bone with both hands with a respectful expression. "Welcome, immortal emperor." With that said, he carefully took out a treasure box and put it away. "Fellow Taoist, the emperor bone has been returned. The grudge between us has been settled. I'm going to attack next. I hope you won't stop me." The demonic immortal stared at Lin Xian with killing intent in his eyes. In his opinion, the matter between him and the Yuhua immortal dynasty was already over. However, the flame immortal snorted coldly. "Over? You were disrespectful to the emperor bone previously. It's already a capital offense. How can I let you off?" "What?" The demonic immortal was stunned. He originally thought that he would return it. The grudge between the two sides was settled. But he was too naive. Was the Yuhua immortal dynasty so easy to talk to? The answer was no. The flame immortal wanted to continue attacking. He took a step forward and immortal fire appeared in the 9 heavens. All kinds of terrifying immortal lights surged. A biting cold aura charged forward. Chapter 6099. You've gone too far. Do you think I'm a pushover? The demonic immortal on the other side was also angry. Originally, he wanted to forget about the enmity with a smile. However, the other party didn't appreciate it. In that case, he wouldn't hold back. With a wave of his hand, he pulled out a demon blade and slashed it fiercely. This slash was as terrifying as a mountain. The flame immortal sneered, "Child's play." With a push of his hands, a sea of fire enveloped the demon blade, turning all the blade light into nothingness. Then, the two rushed forward and fought. The battle between the two earth immortals was too terrifying. The whole place was completely shattered. Lin Xian hurriedly retreated. At the same time, he cast out the heaven-devouring mansion and enveloped the creation immortal pool. However, it only covered half of it. The other half was turned into ashes under the attack of the two earth immortals. Lin Xian hid in the sword world, dodged the attack, and then quickly left. It was too terrifying. With his current strength, he still couldn't compete with the earth immortals. He was afraid that he couldn't even watch the battle. However, he believed that with the strength of the flame immortal, he would definitely not let the demonic immortal have a good time. He didn't need to care about this place at all, so he left. With a flash, Lin Xian flew into the distance. The two earth immortals fought fiercely. Soon, they fought from the ground to the sky. Terrifying power and all kinds of heaven and earth phenomena swept out. At this moment, those people in the 9 serenities were all stunned. The opening of the 9 serenities had already made countless people panic and despair. However, gradually, they also adapted to the sunlight outside. Just as they were rejoicing, a terrifying aura suddenly erupted. It really frightened them. What kind of people were they? Were they fighting? The patriarch of the Xia family, Xia Qianyu, and Zhu Long also trembled. The two of them had 2 strands of immortal qi and were super great emperors. But at this moment, in front of this power, they seemed incomparably small. Then it could only be a battle between Earth immortals. One of the powers was the power of the demonic immortal. They could feel it very clearly. Previously, they were almost caught by the demonic immortal. How could they forget? However, they had no impression of the other power. This power was resplendent and bright, like the divine fire of the 9 heavens, sweeping through the world. This was a power that did not belong to the 9 underworlds. In other words, an expert from the outside world had arrived. I wonder what the situation is like in this section. After this, how many experts would come? They felt immense pressure. The people of the divine realm also felt it. They were fighting, a power that surpassed everything. How was older brother Xian? Murong Qingcheng and the others were worried. Not long after, they saw Lin Xian return. Kid, are 2 Earth immortals fighting? The Crimson Dragon asked. Lin Xian nodded. That's right. Let's go. Lin Xian and his group left. Then, the members of the Divine Union set off in different directions of the 9 underworlds. Lin Xian warned them that there were countless experts here, so they had to be careful. Everyone nodded. Kid, where are we going? The Crimson Dragon asked. Lin Xian said, just look around. To be honest, his thoughts were not on the 9th serenity. Although this place was magical, he had another, more important thing to do. That was to prove his Tao. Previously, the battle god had told him that the aura of the heaven-earth mysterious yellow pagoda had appeared in the azure. He wondered if he had obtained it now. If he did, he should be able to prove his Tao. Kid, the treasure is right in front of you, yet you're still absent-minded. Let's go. After some discussion, the dark red dragon and the toad immediately decided on a direction and flew off. Xueqi and Bai Susu left together. Beside Lin Xian were Murong Qingqing and Yin Ruyu. At this moment, they were heading to an ancient city. The Crimson Dragon and the others had studied it before. In the 9 heavens and 10 earths, there were some ancient cities that were abnormally terrifying. In particular, Xia Jiao had said that the ancient cities of the 9 underworlds could not be built. They could only be passed down from ancient times. Therefore, every ancient city was extremely terrifying. This time, the ancient city they were heading to was called Yuyun City. Looking at the enormous city floating in midair, the crowd gasped in admiration. What a mysterious city. Let's go in and take a look. Maybe there are some treasures? Lin Xian rolled his eyes. You two really don't know how to lead the way. In every ancient city, there are powerful families as friends, and the treasures are divided up by them. You still want to search for treasures? Are you stupid? When Xia Xingchen heard this, she also laughed. You guys can't do it. Let's find Bu Tia. I think he should know some good places. Right, Brother Lin, and Little White. Find Little White. That little guy is reliable, but these two are not. What? We're not reliable. The toad's face darkened. The Crimson Dragon also said, Little girl, what do you know? And you? He glared at Lin Xian and said, I think you've become stupid from cultivating. Of course, we know that there are countless powerful families in this ancient city. Think about it. We've only been here for a few days, not even a month. How many years have they lived here? Thousands or tens of thousands of years. Compared to finding treasures, they know better than us. Perhaps these families and sects know where many treasures are hidden. Moreover, even if they don't know, their families and sects have developed for so long. There must be some treasures. How good would it be if we just went and snatched it? I'll go. Lin Xian covered his face. He had overestimated these two guys. It turned out that these two guys were targeting these families and sections. Even Yin Ruyu, Murong Qingqing, and the others were speechless. I'm not going. It's too embarrassing. That's right, they didn't provoke you. The two beauties shook their heads. Xia Xingchen naturally wouldn't go. Then let's go. The toad, the Crimson Dragon, gritted his teeth and said, Lend me the heaven-swallowing jar. All right, lend me Little White too. Let's go. A group of people entered Yuyun City. Lin Xian and the others strolled around the city. As for the three guys, they ran away like a wisp of smoke. Little White, what do you think of this family? I feel that their palace is very imposing. There should be a lot of treasures, right? Little White took out the treasure bowl, felt it for a while, and said, "Yes, let's do it." The three of them turned into streams of light and rushed in. It had to be said that the earth scripture that the Crimson Dragon cultivated was very magical. Recently, his strength had increased greatly. The formation he had set up actually tore through the defenses of these families and quietly slipped in. Then, they began to collect treasures. The treasury was almost emptied, but the other party still didn't know. However, on the second day, they still found out. Because the toad was too greedy, it insisted on taking away a pearl. There were originally 2 pearls. At this moment, one was cultivating in the hands of the great emperor, while the other was placed in the treasury. When they took away one, the one in the great emperor's hands immediately shook. The great emperor's expression changed. Not good. Someone went to the family treasury. Where did this thief come from? Go to hell. The great emperor's anger shook the 9 heavens. He quickly rushed over. The Crimson Dragon and the others' expressions also changed. Not good, run. The 3 of them immediately ran away. After the great emperor opened the treasury, he took a look and fainted. Their family's treasury had been emptied, leaving only a few scattered items. Damn it, men. He immediately mobilized the family's experts and rushed out crazily. Chapter 6100. For a moment, Yuyun City was also shocked. Someone exclaimed, "This is the Yun family. Who dares to anger them? Why do I see that even the great emperor of the Yun family has come out?" Their faces seemed to be terrifyingly dark. All sorts of discussions could be heard. "Little White, let's go. Let's go to another family." After tasting the sweetness, the toad immediately changed families. A few days later, that family's great emperor also came out, his face as black as the bottom of a pot. Just like that, countless news came from Yuyun City. Have you heard? A few mysterious thieves came to our Yuyun City. They are known as the Thief Saint. They emptied the Yun family's treasury. Not only that, I heard that the other families' treasuries were also emptied. Moreover, these people were very arrogant. Not only did they empty everything, they even left a name behind, calling themselves the Thief Saint Trio. What kind of god are you talking about? Could it be that a ruthless character from the 9 Nether Realm had come? Some people said. Who knows? Now that the 9 Nether Realm has opened, perhaps some people from the outside world have come. All sorts of discussions could be heard. When Lin Xian and the others heard this, they were also speechless. These 3 fellows really did take action. At this moment, a young man dressed in black walked over from the opposite side. This young man was incomparably handsome, but his face was somewhat pale, as if he had not seen the sun for a long time. "Fairy, please wait." He looked at Murong Qingcheng, his eyes shining. "Fairy, it is fate that we can meet. I wonder if Fairy can have a drink with me?" The black-clothed youth's eyes lit up. When Xia Xingchen saw this scene, she also smiled. "Big brother Lin, someone is trying to steal your people." Lin Xian's face darkened. "This guy, is he courting death?" Murong Qingcheng looked at the other party and shook her head slightly. "Sorry, I don't know you. Please go away." "Fairy, the first time unfamiliar, the second time familiar. Soon, you will get to know me, right? Let me introduce myself. My name is Blazing Heaven." Murong Qingcheng directly ignored him. Blazing Heaven was not angry. He could feel that Murong Qingcheng had a mysterious bloodline. She wasn't the only one. The 2 people beside her were the same. Today, he had struck it rich. After absorbing the blood of these people, his strength would probably become even stronger. "Little girl, there's still you." Blazing Heaven also stared at Xia Xingchen. He could also sense that this little girl had an extraordinary bloodline. "Get out of here before I get angry," Xia Jiuyo said coldly. The other party even dared to have designs on his granddaughter. Was he tired of living? "Old man, it seems that you still don't understand what kind of existence you are facing. All right, I'll show you my true form." After saying that, the black robe on his body shattered, and his body continued to grow. Instead, it was replaced by a ferocious beast with a gaping mouth, as if it could devour the heavens and earth. A terrifying aura filled the air. When the other people on the street saw this scene, their expressions changed drastically. Heavens, what kind of demonic beast is this? What a terrifying message. Run. He was Taudai. Ha 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 ha, that's right, I am Taudai. Blazing Heaven was very happy. He liked to admire the terrified and desperate expressions of these people. The Taudai clan loved to eat, and these fellows were its food. The people on the street ran into the distance, their faces full of fear. Why is Taudai here? Damn it, this guy is too scary. It's over. Those people in front are definitely going to die. Yes, it's a pity that they're so young. The people around shook their heads and sighed. However, Lin Xian and the others were incomparably calm. They looked up at the sky. Yen Ruyu said, "What an ugly monster." Murong Qingqing also shook her head. Taudai? The legendary beast of heaven and earth. I didn't expect to see it here. Lin Xian narrowed his eyes. The corner of his mouth raised into a smile, as if mocking the other party for being reckless. The reactions of these people made Blazing Heaven extremely strange. What was going on? After seeing him, shouldn't these people be terrified, trembling, and kneeling on the ground to beg for mercy? Then, they would be swallowed by him in despair. But why were these people looking at him with disdain? There was also a person with a disdainful look on his face. Was it being looked down upon by others? Stupid ants, it seems that you don't know what Taudai represents. Then I'll swallow you first. He turned his eyes and stared at Lin Xian. In an instant, it lunged at Lin Xian and opened its bloody mouth, enveloping him within. The void around Lin Xian kept shattering. Even a quasi-emperor would be swallowed in an instant. Was that kid stupid? Why didn't he escape? Could it be that he knew that he was going to die, so he gave up resisting? Those people in the distance all exclaimed when they saw Lin Xian standing there in a daze. Taudai also snorted coldly. I thought he was powerful, but it turns out that he's a fool. Smack. Right at this moment, Lin Xian stretched out his hand and slapped forward, landing a slap on the other party's face. The crisp sound of the slap was heard. Then, Tao Ye's huge body suddenly froze in the air. In the next moment, it turned into a bloody mist. Lin Xian shook his head and said coldly, "To be honest, I really don't want to do anything to you. Because recently, I've been waiting for news from other places. But you really don't know what's good for you. Since you delivered yourself to me, don't blame me for being impolite." The faint voice, together with the bloody mist that filled the sky, surrounded the surroundings. The people on the street in the distance were dumbfounded. What was going on? Where was the terrifying Taudai? Was it dead? How was that possible? That kid killed a Taudai with one slap. No way. I've heard that Blazing Heaven swallowed 5 quasi-emperors in 3 days. His strength was extremely terrifying. No one below the great emperor was his match. This kid didn't have the aura of a great emperor. How could he kill the other party with one slap? Who the hell is he? Countless shocked voices were heard. There were also people who said, "It's over." I heard that Blazing Heaven didn't come by himself. Instead, he followed a great emperor here. This great emperor was now a guest in the city lord's mansion in Yuyun City. If that great emperor knew about the situation, these people would probably suffer a fate worse than death. They would be gnawed into bones. No, not even bone dregs would be left. After all, Taudai was something that liked to eat everything. Yuyun City, city lord's mansion. Sure enough, there was a middle-aged man there as a guest. He was also wearing a black robe. Beside him, there was food. All kinds of corpses of demonic beasts. Some were as huge as mountains. However, the middle-aged man opened his mouth and instantly ate such a huge demonic beast. The beautiful woman serving at the side was so scared that her body trembled. This was a monster. The city lord of Yuyun City was also a middle-aged man. His body was huge, and he was wearing battle armor. He smiled and said, "Fellow Taoist Mountly, you are too polite. You actually came to personally deliver the invitation. I hope you can forgive me for my lack of hospitality. Don't worry, in 2 days, I will definitely bring out the most exquisite food." I will definitely satisfy you. After Mountly heard this, he nodded. He swallowed another huge demonic beast. However, at this time, his expression changed. In the next moment, he suddenly stood up, a hint of killing intent appearing in his eyes. Not good. His nephew had fallen. Chapter 6101. Who dares to kill the genius of my Taudai clan? Courting death. Mountly roared into the sky, his voice terrifying. The Lord of Yuyun City was also stunned. What was going on? Could it be the other party's nephew, that blazing heaven? The other party was a genius. Moreover, he was arrogant and domineering. No one dared to provoke him. In the past 3 days, he had already eaten 5 quasi-emperors. He knew all of this. However, he was afraid of the Taudai clan, so he didn't dare to say anything. He didn't expect that someone would be so reckless as to kill Blazing Heaven, and it was in Yuyun City. It was too unbelievable. One had to know that he was able to become the city lord thanks to the Taudai clan. Although he was a great emperor, with his own strength, he probably couldn't sit in the position of city lord. After all, he only had one strand of immortal energy. However, he still did it. That was because he had the Taudai clan behind him. Every year, he needed to hunt many beasts and give them to the Taudai clan. It could be said that he was a servant of the Taudai clan. Therefore, he was really stunned now. Just as he was in a daze, Mountly had already torn open the void and flew into the distance. At the same time, a cold killing intent came. Who dares to attack my nephew? Die. The people on the street were originally discussing animatedly. However, when they sensed this scene, they all started to tremble in fear. In the next moment, the sky of the entire street turned dark. A big mouth seemed to swallow the universe. Run away quickly. Those people fled one after another. Some people didn't even have time to escape and were directly bitten off, turning into a bloody mist. Some people were even swallowed into his stomach. Taoye's anger was extremely terrifying. Not good. Xia Xingqian was so scared that his face turned pale. Xia Jiyo also said, "There's actually an emperor-level Taotai." With that, he slapped out with his palm, as if opening the 9 underworld's door. The terrifying black aura blocked it. In the sky, the figure of Mountly appeared. He had already turned into a ferocious beast, looking down. "It was you who killed my nephew? Are you talking about that reckless guy just now?" "That's right. I did it," Lin Xian said indifferently. Those people in the distance all went crazy. They were lucky enough to escape this calamity. At this moment, they had already fled to an extremely far place. However, he still heard Lin Xian's voice. This guy actually admitted it just like that. Did he want to die? Did he know how formidable the Taudai clan was? Did he admit it? Very well, then you'll wish you were dead. Mountly angrily roared and charged down. He wanted to swallow the other party alive. His strength was much stronger than Blazing Heaven's. After all, he was a true great emperor. Lin Xian snorted coldly. "You want to swallow me? I'm afraid you don't have the ability." After saying that, he threw out a punch. There was a loud bang, and heaven and earth rumbled. Lin Xian's fist was like the sun, shooting straight into the clouds. In the blink of an eye, it had struck Mountly's face. With a scream, Mountly retreated. His face was covered in blood, and his teeth were all broken. A sea of blood danced in the sky. Everyone was horrified. What did this young man do? He had injured the arch with a single punch. "You're courting death," Mountly crazily roared. He was actually injured. This was unforgivable. However, at this moment, a sword light shone from below. The immortal slaying sword turned into a shocking divine dragon and slashed at him. With a puff, he was cut in half. Mountly had completely gone crazy. This time, he was not angry, but terrified. The other party could easily break his body and make him feel death. This was obviously a super strong person who was not someone he could provoke. Although the other party looked so young, he might be an old monster who had lived for countless years. Thinking of this, he turned around and fled. Boom! Lin Xian waved his hand, and the divine fire seed jumped. 9 suns rotated and pressed down from the sky. They directly enveloped the injured Taodai. With a miserable cry, Mount Li fell from the sky. He fell in front of Lin Xian. Lin Xian stepped on the other party's body with one foot and said indifferently, "You wanted to eat me just now?" "No, I don't dare," Mount Li said with difficulty. When he opened his mouth was full of blood. The ground under his feet rumbled. The arch blood contained endless power. However, it could not hurt the young man in front of him. There was a loud boom. At this moment, the void broke open and another figure arrived. Everyone looked up, and those people in the distance were terrified. This was the city lord. The city lord had come. Who was it? How dare you behave so atrociously in my place? The city lord of Yuyun City's cold voice sounded. At the same time, he looked down. He was prepared to put on an act. After all, this was Yuyun City. Since the Taodai had made a move, he had to come out and protect it. Of course, that was all. He did not dare to make a move against the Taodai. However, when he saw the scene in front of him, he was stunned. Originally, in his opinion, Mount Li had already passed through the other party. He only needed to say a few words that did not hurt or itch, and it would be over. But how could the situation be like this? Mount Li was beaten like a dead dog, lying on the ground. Heavens, what was the meaning of this? It was just an instant. One had to know that although he was a step behind Mount Li, he had also followed closely behind. How fast was his speed? However, in the blink of an eye, Mount Li was seriously injured and on the verge of death. Who was the one who attacked? A super great emperor? Thinking of this, the city lord of Yuyun was dumbfounded. Lin Xian raised his head and glanced at the other party. He narrowed his eyes and said, "Oh, you're here to help him?" No. It took a lot of effort for the city lord of Yuyun to say these 2 words. If not, then scram. Otherwise, I'll kill you together with him. Although Lin Xian's voice was not loud, when it fell into the city lord's ears, it was as if 5 bolts of lightning had struck him. All right, I'll scram now. The city lord of Yuyun City came quickly and ran even faster. In an instant, he disappeared without a trace. The Taodai at his feet wanted to ask for help, but it was too late. Lin Xian kicked him unconscious. Then, he grabbed his huge body and walked into the distance. Everyone was dumbstruck when they saw this scene. This was the Taodai. It was originally a vicious beast, and it was even at the great emperor level. In the eyes of these people, the great emperor was a high and mighty existence that needed to be worshipped. But at this moment, the Taodai was being dragged like a dead dog into the distance. What was this guy trying to do? Everyone was discussing. Xia Xingchen also said, "Big brother Lin, what are you doing with this guy? He was so ugly." Lin Xian said, "Usually, it's the Taodai who eats others. No one has ever eaten the Taodai. Today, I'll let you have a taste." Hearing this, the people in the distance were stunned. Eating the Taodai. This was something they didn't even dare to dream about. However, what happened next really happened. Lin Xian and the others didn't leave at all. They sat down on the side of the street. Lin Xian released the divine flame and enveloped the Taoye's body. The Taodai screamed, "Brat, our Taodai clan is not something you can provoke. Let me go quickly, or you're dead." Threatening me? If you beg for mercy, you still have a chance to live. If you threaten me, you can just wait for death. Lin Xian used Rinnegan to collect the other party's soul. How could Mount Li resist? He was already seriously injured and was not a match for Rinnegan. So very quickly, his soul was collected. Lin Xian obtained useful information. Then, he attacked and killed the other party. You're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.